VIDEOTECH.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Return to VideoTech, the show where two dinguses break down the movies we love and share our affection for physical media with you. In this episode, we pay tribute to an unlikely everyman heartthrob of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, Richard Gere. In 1999, he was named People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive, and we here at Return to VideoTech support that award and title. I'm Keith, and with me as always is my co-host and lifelong buddy Matt. How's it going, dude?
And more importantly, it's hot gear summer.
Exactly.
Real hot gear shit here at Return to VideoTech. Yeah, I love that you called him like an everyman and a heartthrob at the same time. That's a rare combo.
Well, to me, he does kind of just seem like an everyman. You know, he can play a good guy, he can play a bad guy. He's not like Brad Pitt level sexy,
Yeah.
you know, or at least I mean, I don't know. To me, he looks more like an everyman. You know, he's got like the smoky brown eyes, but
Yeah. I mean, look, I think he's a stud, and it almost feels like there's not enough big roles for him at a certain point. Like when you go
Mhm.
back and look at this run and the stuff we picked for this episode, you know, there's super cool movies. There's other stuff beyond this. But then I feel like he hits a certain point, like in the late '90s, where he just becomes like, I don't know, rom-com guy or something.
Uh-huh.
But he is well-rounded. I mean, there is a lot of different roles that he portrayed, and I feel like I have an appreciation for Richard Gere at this point in my life that I didn't for most years leading up to now.
For sure. He definitely still has a bunch of movies in his filmography that I need to get around to checking out, but yeah, I think he's
Didn't
a great actor.
didn't it sort of feel like for us, like growing up, it was like it's the Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride guy, and then he randomly is in Mothman Prophecies. Like that was
Yeah.
like for our lives, that was like the one random
Uh-huh.
one that you're like, oh,
Yeah,
Richard
yeah,
Gere.
dipping his
Maybe
toes into
maybe
like
it's cool.
horror a little bit, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mothman Prophecies actually terrified me when I was a kid too.
It's a cool random horror movie, you know.
Hmm. Yep.
That's I feel like doesn't have that much of a following, but it's just like a cool one. Or maybe it does have like a little bit of a cult one, but I feel like at the time that it came out, it did not seem like it really caught on with the masses, at least from my perspective. One thing that's revealed over time is like there's movies that made like a ton of money that I didn't think were that big. So I,
Hmm.
I do speak about things that I don't know that well, but I don't. It doesn't feel like Mothman Prophecies was a huge hit.
Right. Well, we'll get into Richard Gere's filmography in a few minutes here, but to start the show off, we like to talk about movies that we've gone to see in the theaters and physical releases we've picked up. So I know you went to the theater and saw a big one uh, that I really liked, Ari Aster's
Yeah.
new movie. We talked a little bit about it in our last episode, but now that you've had a chance to see it, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on Eddington.
Well, yeah, it was both funny. Let me say it like that. It was both funny and traumatic at the same time. And yeah, it does bring you back, but it doesn't even really have to bring you back. And I kind of feel like everyone started going crazy in America, at least, like during the first like Trump, like not even the Trump presidency, like the lead up to that first like Trump election, where that's where like everybody started to just go crazy, and then
Uh-huh.
the pandemic like certainly like just sent everybody through the roof, and now like what's going on now? I mean, it's almost like cartoonish, like just the way everybody is and the way people react to everything, and of course there's a ton of like crazy shit going on all the time now too, but this movie just yeah it takes you back to the core of that time, and it's you can laugh at the things that are goofy, but it's also like it haunts you to your core that you're like wow, like there's it's definitely a delineation in time, and it does just kind of bum you out how people act too, like
For sure.
where you're just like really there's just a
Yeah.
lot of that. I will say I thought it was more like Beau is Afraid, but not that crazy.
Mhm.
Like more grounded than Beau is Afraid, but still,
The final like third of it probably gets into that territory, I would say.
yeah. On Ari Aster overall, I still think Hereditary is his best movie. That's my favorite.
Agreed. Yeah,
And there's
100%.
it seems like there's a split in his career now, even though it's a short career, and it's been mostly, praised. But I definitely feel like Hereditary and Midsummer, you're like, yeah, I can see this being the same director, and then it's like a jump to these two where Beau is
Yeah.
Afraid and Eddington seem like the same director, but not necessarily that's the same director for all four. But I'll say, yeah, Hereditary is still my favorite of his, but it's not like the margin is so wide.
Yeah, I was kind of trying to allude to that in our last episode when we talked about this movie a little bit, where it's like he feels like an auteur, but I don't know if you can even say that about a director when they've only made four movies, but he definitely has his own style, and yeah, Hereditary and Midsummer feel a little bit more connected, and
Yeah,
then Beau is Afraid and Eddington feel like they're like another type of his style of movie, I guess,
agree. Anxiety Core,
for sure.
which I feel like was really actually perfected by the Safdie brothers.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no movie has hit my like anxiety nerve as bad as seeing Uncut Gems in the theater.
Uh-huh. I was
But
very surprised to see, not to cut
yeah,
you off, but I was very surprised to see, I think it was Benny Safdie appear in a prominent role in Happy Gilmore 2, which
oh
I
really?
recently watched too. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, is he the one that's in Oppenheimer?
I think so. Yeah. I think Benny's the one who
That's like
is taking more acting roles. Yeah.
okay, yeah. Well, I also think he's in the upcoming The Odyssey too.
hmm
So, yeah, I did not watch Happy Gilmore too. What were your thoughts on that?
I went in with like zero expectations, and to be
Yeah,
quite honest, it's been a very long time since I've seen the original.
same
So
here.
I feel like maybe I saw a lot of hate for it online,
Yeah.
but I watched it with Justin when he was here visiting, and
Uh-huh.
we had a good time. We watched it the same night that we went to the theater and saw The Naked Gun.
Yeah.
So like a fun little comedy double feature. And
Although
I
I saw that.
actually,
Go ahead.
sorry,
Oh, I
I
was gonna
enjoyed.
say I saw that you weren't too high on the Naked Gun.
Yeah, so I definitely I liked Happy Gilmore 2 more than The Naked Gun.
Okay.
And it's funny because I was talking to Travis and Justin about this before we even went to see the movie. They seemed like they were excited to go see that, and my reservations were really just with Liam Neeson. I was like, I don't see Liam Neeson as like this funny guy, but they were giving me some pushback on that. I was like, I only really know him as Qui-Gon Jinn and the guy
Taken.
from Taken. He did like a ton of movies like Taken after
Totally.
that was a
He
hit.
is
So
he is mostly dead serious. That is true. He is mostly in serious as a heart attack roles.
mhm.
Um, I will say, you're probably gonna get some flack in this household because I was out of town and Lindsay went to see The Naked Gun by herself. How about that? Um,
I'm not. If you're gonna say she liked it, I would not be surprised because it has that like hard-boiled noirish like feel to it, kind of, But I mean, it's
yeah.
poking fun at that, but
Well, she's big time the Lonely Island dudes, and that's that
okay,
Akiva Schaffer from the Lonely Island like co-wrote or whatever and directed
okay.
The Naked Gun.
Remind me, who are the Lonely Island people?
It's like Andy Samberg.
Oh, okay.
They did that "I'm on a boat" that song.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
She's big time with them. She listens. They do a podcast with Seth Meyers, but they were on SN or well, mainly Andy Samberg, but the other two were writers on SNL for a long time, and they did all those
hmm
digital shorts. So she's got season tickets to whatever the Lonely Island's doing. So
Okay.
yeah, she went by herself, and she was a fan. She liked it.
Yeah. It definitely brings back a style of comedy that I feel like has been missing from Hollywood. It's the joke a minute like spoof comedy, um, which I don't know. I liked a good portion of it. I guess one of my other complaints would be like the kinds of movies that it's spoofing to me felt more like Mission Impossible,
Yeah,
uh, and maybe like 007 and stuff. Whereas I feel like the old Naked Guns, it's been a while since I've seen those, but I feel like they were poking fun at more like 70s and 80s like cop dramas and stuff. So it's like a little bit different
Yeah.
in that faction, but
Yeah, listen, I'm not sure if on my own I would have gone to see Naked Gun. Like I probably just wouldn't have even paid attention to it. Like I
Mhm.
was never that into spoof comedies, although like you said, I'm kind of just not into the idea that something like that is back being made again because it's been
Mhm.
a rough time for comedy, probably the last 10 years now. So
For
just to
sure.
see that get any legs and, a project like that get going, that has me like a little bit interested, but I can't really imagine left to my own devices me even following what's going on with it. But because like Lindsay's fandom and connection with that group of people, it was more on my radar. And I would have gone with her if I was in town, but she was totally fine seeing it on her own. I'm not. I mean, I've only loosely followed this, but it definitely adds a level of intrigue. The whole idea of a Liam Neeson Pam Anderson relationship. Anymore, I'm like, is this just fake to get buzz
I
around the movie?
That's what I was saying too, because before we went to see it, we had seen, they're doing their press tour and they're doing that thing where they're like pretending like they're, or to me it seems like they're just pretending to
Yeah.
like generate buzz for the movie. Maybe that's me just being cynical, but that's what I think when I see stuff like that. I'm like, this is
Well,
just bullshit. They're just trying to get people interested.
and I feel like there's reason to believe that at this point. Not even necessarily with these two, but we've seen it now where some of these press junket tours can actually add an extra bit of buzz. There was that movie that Olivia Wilde directed. I certainly feel like all of the drama around that leading up to it helped some of the box office numbers. I can't even remember what it's called. I did see it in the theater, so they got my money. So sorry for
Well,
not promoting it.
the one
Uh,
I can point to is I think it was either the first Dune or the second Dune. I think it was the first one where they were hyping up this thing like, or people there were rumors about Zendaya and
yeah,
Timothy Chalamet, but it was like well known that she was with Tom Holland.
right.
I'm pretty sure. So it was like, what is like? They're literally just trying to generate buzz, but
And I think it
I don't
works, so I don't really blame them for it, but that it does make you feel like, well, let's cast a shadow of doubt on anything that's actually said or being acted upon while the movie's still in the theaters,
yeah,
because I do think that in this day and age where they're struggling more to put butts in seats, like anything they can do to generate additional buzz,
yeah.
they're going to try to do.
I mean, if they're really in a relationship, I'm happy for them, but
Same.
I'm calling bullshit.
It is fun. It's definitely fun to talk about. So sorry, and we went down the path with the Naked Gun, but overall, you had a good time with Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, I just went in with zero expectations and
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. It is just loaded with an insane amount of cameos, like Eminem, Margaret Qualley, just like all these people that you wouldn't expect to be in there.
Yeah,
Travis Kelce's in it, like
of course.
yeah, and a lot of people are knocking it for that kind of, which is fair. It also takes like kind of a dark turn in the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's if you have a dark sense of humor, then you'll find it funny, which I kind of do. So I thought it was all right.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Yeah,
don't want to like spoil it too much because it's still pretty new. But
I can't really say that I'm that interested in it. I plan on watching it at some point. Like, I'm not one of these people that's like really that hard anti anything. It's just like if the moment comes and I feel like watching it, I'll watch it. But I feel like with a movie like this, like years could go by before that happens, or maybe some random day I'm just like, well, this is the day. But I haven't felt compelled to watch it. We'll just say that
yeah,
at
yeah,
some point though.
it's like a Saturday or Sunday afternoon movie when you like don't have anything else going on.
Yeah, when I don't have like 5 Richard Gere movies to watch.
Yeah. Real quick, before we move on to the next segment, I did want to mention I also saw Weapons in the
Yes.
theaters, and I thought it was incredible. Like
So
it's
last episode, Keith, I talked about Sean Fennessy calling Eddington the best movie of the year, if not the decade, and you were like, I think I kind of agree with that. Now already the next episode, Eddington
Weapons
has
has
been
dethroned
supplanted.
Eddington for me. Yes. It's Weapons is just more my kind of
Yeah.
movie. Eddington, I still think is like a great, amazing movie. nothing against it. It's just I don't think I'll be revisiting Eddington too often, but
Yeah.
Weapons I could see myself rewatching quite a bit. It's got the same energy as Kreger's Zach Kreger, I think is the name of the director. He also did Barbarian, which I loved, and this I don't want to. I'm gonna try to tiptoe a little bit because I don't want to spoil it, but I feel like it has the same energy, and like they did a great job with the marketing of this movie. I think building up this mystery of like, so you know the basic premise is like this class full of kids basically goes missing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's videos of them like running out of their house at 2:17 in the morning, which is kind of funny. I didn't put two and two together when I went to the theater, so I took a half day at work to go see this,
Fun.
and the showing started at 2:17. I was like, why 2:17? But that's like a thing in the movie. Like
Oh, sweet.
2:17 a.m. is the time that the kids like all ran out of their houses or whatever.
I love it.
But yeah, it's a really cool just like mystery for the first like, 2/3 of the movie, and then without spoiling anything, it gets kind of wild. Josh Brolin's in it. There's a fun cast of characters, and it has a unique structure too. It's kind of told like in chapters, I would say, and there's not really any one main character. It's kind of split up between three or four different people. Um, but yeah,
I
it was a
saw
really fun movie.
I,
Yeah.
I saw Josh Brolin was really putting it over. I mean, I know he is in it, so he has reason
Hmm.
to, but he was really talking about how, like, I don't know, the quote was something about just there not being that many great visionary auteur filmmakers out there right now. And if you're looking for someone with like a fresh perspective, like
Hmm.
this is the guy, you know. Which
Yeah.
look, Barbarians was definitely, wait, is it or Barbarian singular, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Was definitely quite an experience in the theater, a memorable one of the more memorable ones of the last several years of going. So I'm definitely interested. I looked at trying to get out there this weekend, although it being over 2 hours was a little bit of a detriment.
I'll say for me that 2 hours flew by. I don't
Yeah,
often get this feeling anymore in movies where I'm like, I used to get this feeling a lot when I was a kid and I would go to the theater and I'd know that there's, 20, 30 minutes left in the movie. And I'd get this feeling like, no, I don't want this to be over.
yeah,
Like I'm
yeah.
already thinking that. Like I'm so into it that I
Right.
don't want the movie to be over. I got that feeling with this movie. I was like,
Wow,
I'm
that's
loving this
awesome.
so much. And like beyond like the fun mystery and then insanity that it kind of like devolves into. I think this movie has like a lot of like underlying themes and stuff, and I think Kreger is like really good at like hiding that basically. Yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into
Okay.
that, but I think there are some very interesting ideas that are going on underneath the surface of this movie.
Yeah. I'll definitely see it in the theater. I kind of wish I could have just so we could have had the discussion now, but I guess like you said, you don't want to spoil too much anyway, and at a certain point,
Yeah,
if I saw it, we'd probably be diving
yeah,
deeper. So it's probably for the best. But yeah, I'll see it soon as well because it does look super fun, and based
yeah,
on your reaction,
yeah.
I think I'll like it quite a bit.
I feel like I've been like really hyping up the last couple theater experiences I've had,
That's
but
good. I mean,
I did.
it sort of feels like there's a buzz coming back to theater going. I don't think that's just exclusive to you. I don't know if it's just because people are like trying to will it back to existence. It's almost like people are trying to give mouth to mouth
Mhm.
resuscitation to like
Yeah.
the theater thing because like it's been a slow crawl. Like Top Gun Maverick came out and people are like, is the is going to the theater back? And then
Yeah.
like it's kind of like slowly there's like
Mhm.
ones that hit. But Lindsay saw Naked Gun on a Sunday afternoon. She said it was like pretty full. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I was
So
surprised. Weapons was pretty full. Naked Gun, people were really into Naked Gun, I'll say.
yeah.
I was chuckling to myself in the theater, but there were people laughing out loud. Like,
Oh wow. Okay. You
yeah.
love it. I mean, I listen, it's all I've ever wanted for the theater to like I mean, there was a time where I was like, this could be going away. One of the main big theaters that I go to, it's just like they don't even turn all the lights on in it. Like there's sections of it that are just quiet. Like it's just
Just not using all screens at all times,
oh,
too,
it's a dead
probably.
yeah. It was like a dead scene, and it was like one of the more like mecca of theaters in the area, like one of the big ones. And I'm like, man,
Mhm.
this is a rough scene. So it's nice to see things happening and people be excited about movies again. I don't think we're quite. I don't think we're back, but like it feels
Yeah.
like we're on an upswing.
Uh-huh.
I got to tell
Okay.
you a story though before we get out of
Okay.
this.
Yep.
Lindsay and I went to see I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I've talked about my fandom of the original movie on this show, and I was like, all right, let's go see it. I really want to see it in the theater. She wanted to see The Naked Gun, but I was like, we gotta see I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm just like, we have to. We go on like a Wednesday night, leave the house. She's driving um, our car, which is not even a year old. We get like, I don't know, barely out of our immediate neighborhood. And she's driving and talking to me. And I just see out of the corner of my eye, like a flash of something coming like really fast, like towards us. And it was a deer. And Lindsay didn't see it. And like she kind of saw it at the very last second. Now she was only going like 25 miles an hour,
Hmm.
slams on the brakes. Deer comes right in front of us. Deer like never saw us. I don't know. It was going like full blast, and
Deer
it
are
just,
dumbasses, dude. They'll just run
dude.
right in front and just stop in the middle of the road.
And the ones in our neighborhood are so crazy. Like you know where I live, but it's like in a city neighborhood, but it's kind of by
Uh-huh.
this big old cemetery. So there's a ton of deer that hang out, but they're like super domesticated. They're not afraid of humans at all. They're constantly just like walking down the middle of the street. They cross the street. I swear that a lot of them look both ways before they cross the street. They'll use the crosswalk. It's crazy. I'll open my door in the wintertime and they'll just be like sliding down the ice in the neighborhood. Like they're just it's just the wildest thing to experience all the time. But in this case, boom, hit the deer, and I'm just like, first of all, I'm like, great, our new car is completely fucked up, and we just killed a deer. Like, this is horrible. We should have just stayed home. Why do I make us leave the house? Like, this is such a bad idea. We just should have stayed home. And I'm slowly like I'm looking at Lindsay. She's kind of like recovering because it's just that like little bit of shock and shit because she just keeps driving. And I'm like, "Do you want to pull over?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm looking at the deer, thinking it's dead, and then I just see it kind of slowly get up and like untangle its legs and then run away, like completely fine. And
Wow.
I get out of the car. Car is completely fine. There's just like little deer hair on it, but like no damage, zero
Wow.
damage. So then we get down to the theater. We're still like a little shaken up, and we're eating at Panera just before we go into the theater. And I just have my phone sitting out, and it vibrates, and a little message comes across the top of the screen that says, "I know what you did last summer." And I'm like, "It's that fucking deer."
The deer is about to hunt you
uh,
down with a hook.
yeah. It was just like the reminder that like I had tickets to the movie or whatever.
Hmm.
It was like I know what you did last summer starts in 20 minutes or something. I was like, it was so perfect. So we saw it in like the first, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes of it or whatever. I was like, I hate this. I'm like, this sucks. Like, how hard does this have to be? Just cast like the people from Euphoria and pay them whatever they want and like make that be the movie. Like, I mean, what? Why does this have to be hard? Well, meanwhile, Lindsay's like, this is just showcasing how old you are because like the main girls or whatever, who I don't know who they are, she like looks them up on Instagram and they both have like over 1 million followers or whatever. Like they have like millions of followers, right? And I was like, I'm like,
Uh,
yeah, no idea, zero idea who they are. But as the movie was going on, it like way leans into just being like a comedy. Like it's like, a horror comedy still. Like there's the elements of horror,
mhm.
but like it's being like super goofy. And
Uh-huh.
I was actually digging that and having fun with it. Some of the humor reminded me of like MTV shows from like 10 to 15 years ago, like original series that were happening on MTV that I watched, by the way, like shows that
Mhm.
I thought were like pretty funny. Like Awkward and Faking It. And there was another one called like Sweet Vicious or something. And I used to watch those shows around that time period and thought they were pretty funny. And a lot of the humor was very similar to those, I thought. So maybe the humor was a little dated, or maybe comedy hasn't evolved that much in the past 15 years. But I don't know. It was funny. I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt, I don't know, are definitely like ridiculous in it, and there's just not a hint of serious tone to it at all. Like Lindsay was like, I think you're forgetting that the original was like pretty funny. I'm like, yeah, Ryan Phillippe being a complete absolute psychopath, like losing his mind, is funny, but like
I actually rewatched the original not that long ago,
yeah.
and it might have been the first time that it clicked in my head how bad Freddie Prinze Jr. actually is in that movie. Like, I feel like his acting was horrible in the first movie. I still love it, but
Yeah. Well, look, there's a reason why, it didn't really happen for him after a certain point. After those teen movies
Mhm.
ended, and it's like, he didn't really go on to
Yeah,
have great success as an actor. Probably out of that crew, he may have had the least of a
yeah,
career after the teen movies ended. So, yeah, I mean, he's not great, but I love the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it all works for me. But in this one,
mhm.
it was like they were not striking a balance of serious and humor. It was mostly it was at its best when they were just leaning into like, let's just be funny. And then the end gets like so ridiculous that it's clearly just for laughs, which I was okay with. I didn't know that's what I was getting myself into, but I was okay with it. I gave it 3 stars, which maybe some people would be like, that's
Being
being
too
generous.
generous.
Yeah, but like Lindsay and I were actually laughing out loud like a lot, like a
Okay.
decent amount. I mean, it was stupid, but
Yeah.
I think there's
I
fun to be
actually
had there.
I had I've had this spoiled for me, so I know who the killer is. I won't
Yeah.
say it here, obviously, because it's still a new movie. But I was listening to The Big Picture, and
Uh-huh.
they gave a warning. I just didn't care. I was like,
Yeah. Right.
I'll see it eventually. But I when I heard them say who the killer was, I was like, what? It's
I know
kind
it's
of
so
silly.
stupid. It is really dumb, um,
Yeah.
but it is funny. I think it's funny. Like
Okay.
it was one of the. I would say I laughed at least as much as I laughed at Eddington. How about that?
Okay.
Now Eddington was far more frightening to me.
Yeah. Eddington
um,
was more scary. It was funny
yeah.
because it was scary how real life it felt. Like-
Yes, for sure. All right, real quick before we get out of this, show me what you picked up recently.
Okay, so um recently I joined the Terror Vision video club, I think it's called,
Okay.
where it's kind of like Vinegar Syndrome. They have you pay like, I don't know, a couple $100 and they send you like their next 10 movies basically, or their next 10 things. So the
Yeah.
first thing they sent, I've actually had this for a while, but I just wanted to show this because this is the first thing they sent. Is a Shoestring Slashers box set, which is
All right.
these movies are very obscure. All pretty much everything TerrorVision does is super obscure, but these are like the lowest of low budget slasher movies. But I will say this one called Beware was like, I think that one was from like the early 2000s. It literally just feels like a super big fan of slasher movies got got together with like 6 of his friends and were like, we're gonna go out in the woods and make a slasher. And it was actually really funny, and like it felt like a love letter to slashers. But anyways,
All right.
so I got that, and then I got that was the first package. They sent me that in like a T-shirt. That was a couple months ago, but I got my next package. They send out like one every 2 months or something, I think. But I haven't seen these, so I don't have much to say about them. But it was the first one was Devil's Sword,
Ooh,
which I think is like
what are
kind
those things on there? It looks like some sort of demonic cat.
of, yeah, I don't know. I think this is kind of like a goofy, like
They
action
look like
horror movie. Kind of, I don't
don't they
know.
kind of look like the things from Ghostbusters, like Zool and
Yeah,
the gatekeeper and
I
the keymaster that turn into dogs?
I have no idea. Yeah, it says it's a blend of horror, fantasy, and martial arts that'll leave you on the edge of your seats.
All
Oh,
right.
and they sent like a replacement disc for this one too, because that was, that happens all the time now, I guess.
Of course.
But then another one, Suddenly in the Dark,
Oh
which
yeah.
comes
All
in
right.
this cool like hard slip box, which it's the same kind of packaging as Rumpelstiltskin I showed you
Oh
a while
yes.
back. That's a TerraVision release.
Okay. Well, I do like that type of packaging.
Yeah, and then Children of Violent Rome. I think this is like an Italian
Yeah.
something. I don't
This
know.
kind of looks like that. Kind of looks like Kino Lorber type packaging.
Yeah, they do really quality like slip covers. They're really
Fun.
thick. But Yeah, I don't have much to say about those because I haven't watched them yet, and I don't even really remember what the trailers were like. It's just they send you a box. It's a subscription service. It's kind of cool. I will say, if you're interested, if you like that kind of very obscure horror stuff, they're putting out a lot of really cool things. Like the stuff that I have bought from them. They also put out Frogman that we talked about a little bit in
Of
the
course,
past.
how could I forget?
Yeah, but they put out these like wild, obscure movies. And their customer service is actually great too.
Oh, good.
I signed up. They have like multiple services that you can sign up for, and I signed up for the wrong one on accident. So I just emailed them and I was like, "Hey, I signed up for the wrong or the one that I didn't want. Can you guys change it for me?" And they just did it like no problem.
Yeah,
Um, so
that's great. That's nice to
yeah,
see in today's day and age where
yeah,
everyone is crazy. It's nice to know that we can still count on customer service in
yeah,
boutique movie,
yeah,
in boutique physical media stores.
yeah.
I
So
had
did you
one
pick anything
thing.
up?
Yeah, I had one thing come that I brought to show off, and it was something I was excited about. It shipped from Orbit DVD. I was saying to Lindsay, I was like, I feel like I've been good about like ordering movies, and she's like, well, you say that, but then something shows up at the door like once a week at least, and I'm like, yeah, but
Mhm.
that's all old stuff that I ordered. And then she says, and that's what you always say. So the one thing that I had come, this is the Hearts of Darkness, a filmmaker's apocalypse, which is the making of Apocalypse Now. I think there's a bunch of these stories now of where the making of story is almost as interesting as the movie. This is the one that people always said it's like as good as the movie. Francis Ford Coppola
Mhm.
famously just went absolutely insane trying to get this made, trying to get it across the finish line. I love Apocalypse Now. I just watched the final cut recently because I had a 4K steelbook of it, and I had a cool DVD that had I think the theatrical cut and Redux on it. I've never been like that particular. I think I just prefer the theatrical cut the most, but the final cut is kind of this nice blend because it takes the extra scenes that are in Redux and just kind of shortens them down and includes
Mhm.
them with the theatrical cut. So I watched that recently, but I've been wanting to see this for a long time. So when I saw that there was this release, I don't know if anybody special did it. It just says Studio Canal on it, so I'm not seeing another label for it. But as soon as I saw that it was coming out, I pre-ordered it because I was like, it was just on my list for a long time. It was something I just wanted to watch, but
Yeah.
it's a documentary about a movie. It's not always readily available somewhere. So, um,
I know that's a really popular one right now. A lot of my YouTube buddies have been picking that up and
yeah,
showing it off on like Instagram and stuff. But that does remind me, I do want to show off one other thing real quick because I
please,
forgot that I got something really cool in the mail too.
yeah,
So
yeah.
one
Come
second.
on, hurry up. Jeez, we almost got out of this segment without you showing whatever this is going to be. So here it
I
is.
got zombie flesh eaters. This is like the Arrow UK exclusive, but here's the kicker. I specifically spent like an extra $20 to get this super cool cover,
Oh yeah.
and it's just the slip thing. That's I paid extra money just for this stupid slip.
And
Like this is the
hey,
standard hard box or whatever. It's like the I don't know, which
that's
I don't know.
yeah.
It's still cool artwork on there, but I was expecting it to be this art,
No,
which I
that
think
that
is
is a little
cooler.
bit of a jip, but at least it's
Yeah,
on the slip, and the slip looks cool.
yeah, but
But it is lame. I mean, one thing about being a collector, and especially once things are having a moment, people are gonna find their way to make money off of collectors, and whether it's
yeah.
with these the slip covers. When I did records, it's like if they could do some sort of color variant for the disc, people would go crazy over that. And I'm just like,
Uh-huh.
listen, I'll buy this stuff, but I know it's just a money grab.
I know. Well, I mean, if you look at like the American Gigolo one,
Oh yeah, which is a
it
sweet.
it's the same. The
Yeah.
really
Well, that's
cool.
what you do expect it to be the same. I
Yeah,
totally agree. I mean, you expect the box or whatever's underneath the slipcover to have the same
yeah.
cover. So,
But anyways, we don't have to talk about zombie flesh eaters. It's a fun movie if you haven't seen it. There's a scene in it where a zombie fights a shark underwater. So
perfect. Sounds like something that would really speak to me.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're 34 minutes in. Let's move on.
Please.
Okay, Matt, we're messing with the structure of the show today, and we're gonna talk about our homework first. We'll save our blind bias for after the spotlight. And I asked you to watch a movie that I actually hadn't seen yet either. I was just curious. I wanted to watch it because we talked about the original,
Yes,
The Day of the Jackal, in a previous episode, and I'd never seen the remake, just titled The Jackal.
that's right. I
So, what were your thoughts on The Jackal?
Well, I too had never seen this movie in its entirety. I had seen parts of it on basic cable. It was one of those movies, not as popular as most, but it sort of dabbled in being a dad bro movie. Like it would be on TBS, TNT, or something like where I'd catch parts of it. Not often, but it was on there every so, once in a while or whatever. But um, I bought the DVD back in the day, and I tried to watch it one time, and I don't know, I just didn't make it through. But it wasn't even like it was like a Saturday afternoon hungover thing. Fell asleep, and then I had the DVD. I just never finished it. I don't know. I never watched it all the way through. I no longer have that DVD. I think either Brittany has it or it's gone. I don't know, one of those two things. And so I rented it, which is always a great thing. A movie that you bought before, and now you're paying again to rent.
I've rented movies that I have, and I
Dude,
just didn't want to go downstairs to grab them.
I know. There's movies that I swear I have, and then I either rent or buy another copy of because I can't find it, and then I see that it was where I was looking, and I just this is why, Keith, I'm not allowed to own multiple copies of Breathless for these reasons. Okay. Um, but watching this, I always remembered the Jack Black arm blown off scene. That was the thing that I
I
always
love that
remembered.
part.
Yeah. Um, and it is a very cool Richard Gere character
hmm
in this movie. I think like him playing this former IRA guy or whatever with the accent and everything, like he's cool.
I
Um,
gotta say, I was not into the accent at first. I was like, I think it was because I had just gotten through watching Breathless and American Gigolo and like some other,
yeah,
some of his other movies, Internal Affairs, and it threw me off the accent.
I think that yeah, it didn't for me, but I will say Lindsay had a little bit of a reaction to it. She was just like, "Whoa, accent," and kind of like laughed at it, like it was like.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know, I think he sounds cool, but um, I will say one of the things that I felt after, especially seeing the original, well, I definitely prefer the original to this, but there's some cool stuff in this.
hmm
The whole cat and mouse game with him and Bruce Willis is like fun to watch for sure.
hmm
And Bruce Willis is kind of scary as the villain. There's a part of me that feels like Richard Gere should have played that role. Like I feel like it could have been the other way.
I totally agree.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'll say the one thing that I was noticing though, I don't know if it was like the a combination of his haircut and the sunglasses and all that, but they actually did a pretty good job of making him look similar to the actor from The Day of the Jackal.
Yeah.
There's like certain angles where I was like, like there was a shot of him like sitting at a bar at one point, and you kind of see like the back slash side of his head,
Yeah.
and I was like, is this a cameo of the actor from The Day of the Jackal? And then it continues panning around, and I was like, oh, that's just Bruce
Yeah,
Willis.
yeah, yeah. Um, I don't love, the way that he's gonna try to carry out the assassination in this one with the van and that weird kind of crazy Gatling gun or whatever.
This whole movie just feels like an American bastardization of that movie
Yeah,
of
it's
Day of the
and it's very
Jackal.
90s too. Like it just
Yeah.
screams like late 90s all the film production, but like not not by a well-known director. Like just
Yeah.
some director for hire to make a 90s movie. That's what it feels like. And some of the
Uh-huh.
things that they take from the original story that they just like blow through so quickly,
hmm
I just didn't it just feels clunky and clumsy like
Yeah.
um the whole thing that's early in the movie that where they take the guy and they torture him where they first hear about the Jackal, like I think that is like so well done in the original, and in this one
Uh-huh.
it's just kind of like blown through.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, so it's I definitely didn't like it as much, but I am glad that I finally watched it, and I do think that it's if you're not digging it at times, I think it kind of redeems itself. The final showdown in the subway station, I think, is pretty strong.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's I feel like if I hadn't seen The Day of the Jackal first,
yeah,
I might just be like indifferent and just be like, "Oh, this was like a fun, cat and mouse game,
yeah.
terrorist whatever assassination type movie that's just, just feels like a 90s run-of-the-mill action movie." But
Well, it's a weird move because in the Day of the Jackal, you have the assassin character, but then you also have this like detective who's like putting everything together. They make the choice in this one to take like another former, I don't know if he's supposed to be a hitman in the past, but someone who had ties to the criminal underworld or whatever, who has met him before. And
it's like The Rock
yeah,
going in
yeah.
and getting Sean Connery. Like they have to go find this convict and like get him to help the police, which kind of makes no sense, but
Yeah, you might have to suspend disbelief a little bit for this one, but and it is
yeah.
long too. I mean, of
Uh-huh.
all these Richard Gere movies that we were watching, like everything is like pretty good run times. I mean, I think American Gigolo is just under 2 hours. Breathless was like an hour and 40 minutes or something. I also Lindsay and I rewatched Days of Heaven, my Criterion 4K
Nice.
today. This coming in at a smooth 94 minutes. You love to see it, just in and out. But the Jackal took its time. I think it was. I mean, it was definitely over 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I don't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
exactly,
Let
but
me know
it,
the
it
runtime. I was thinking it was almost like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something. I felt like it was pretty long.
I'm
But
not seeing it immediately on the back. Sometimes I can find it right away, and I'm not seeing it right now.
wow, yeah,
But
you
yeah,
really
it feels like
found it a
I
little bit
want to say
quick.
it's like 220 or something.
Well,
Yeah.
that girl, the girl officer, kind of being removed from the equation like halfway through, I feel like is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
I liked that sequence though.
Yeah,
That was
that
that
part
was
is
well
cool.
directed.
Yeah, that and it's not. It's a like kind of bit of it's almost climactic level action, like right in the
Hmm.
middle of the movie.
Yeah. And he looks cool as hell with his like ski mask on and like
Yeah,
he's got
yeah,
like the machine gun or whatever and he turns the music on or whatever to distract them and it's like I don't know, the way it played out I thought was cool.
for sure. Now I have to actually watch that series that's on Peacock or whatever.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that'll be
I don't
last
even
on the
know
list.
who's in that or who's involved with the
Well,
production, but
yeah, I know, but as soon as you tell me that I have to watch like 10 episodes of something, it's like, come on. I mean, that's
yeah.
like 10 movies.
I mean, I love that kind of like espionage type stuff though. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so that's the Jackal. You want to talk about Breathless real quick, which I assigned to you. Big story behind this one. I was not able to purchase um,
The
the
cinematograph.
cinematograph one that you're about to hold up, even though I am wearing the cinematograph T-shirt for this show today. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is I love that release. I love cinematograph, and that's
Yeah.
probably the release that I would have been the most excited about. But because I purchased this version not too long ago, in the last couple of years,
Hmm.
which I don't know who put this out, but it's not immediately apparent to me. It says like FCE, which I don't know what that is, an MGM, of course. But yeah, you've got the cool copy. What can I tell you?
Yeah. And real quick just about the packaging.
Yeah.
I I just really like the designer who did this. I think I messaged you a couple weeks ago
Oh
because
yeah,
Sam's Myth is the guy who designed this package, and he commented on one of my YouTube videos, and I was
that's
so
awesome.
hyped. I was like, "Oh my god,
That's
this dude's
amazing.
awesome!" But he also did the cover for Criterion's House, and he's just done a lot of really cool covers. And this cover I think is awesome.
Yeah, it
Um,
really is, and I'm bummed. I mean, I do like the cover of the one I've got. I don't know, it does, no deluxe packaging or anything, but the artwork is pretty sweet for it.
I I like that cover too. That
Um,
artwork is
but
nice.
I don't know. At some point, I feel like that cinematograph one will make its way into my world too. But I'm just trying not to
Yeah.
upset the apple cart here too much. I gotta let the packages slow down a little bit, and then maybe some vinegar syndrome sale.
Hmm.
We'll ease our way in because I kind of feel like Cinematograph is one of those labels that I'd like to have like a lot of their stuff. I've been buying
Yeah.
more of it because I think they do kind of cool random movies.
Yeah. I will say it's kind of weird though. Not that
Yeah.
this really matters, but the size of their packaging. This is the first one I've got, but compared to
Yeah,
Arrow's like chunky box, they're a little taller,
they do take up space. There's no doubt about
and
that.
I guess they're the same thickness, or maybe a little bit thicker. But
Thick.
anyways, as far as the movie goes, though,
Yeah,
I
please.
thought it was good. I feel like it was on Letterboxd. I said I feel like it was like a way, way, way more grounded version of something like Wild at Heart or like Bonnie and Clyde. You know, just like an unsavory anti-hero type guy madly in love with a woman, you know, trying to get her to run away with him. It's like I feel like there's a lot of other movies like that that I'm not even thinking of.
That's true.
Um,
Yeah, and
but
even with the Wild at Heart thing, he kind of has like an Elvis type persona.
yeah,
He has like an Elvis obsession.
weirdly obsessed with Elvis, which I don't get, but I this came out in the 80s, right though? So like it's just
Yeah,
a different generation. Like
yeah.
I was never into Elvis. I don't know if you were, but it seems like
No.
that was a thing with characters like you like bad boy characters from that era. Were like
Well, and it's probably because like the people that were like making the like source original content or whatever, it's actually them, not the characters.
yeah,
I mean, so you have
yeah,
to
the
remove it like
directors
another
or yeah,
20
or the
years.
writers, yeah,
I mean, yeah, Elvis was like the first cool dude, so
yeah,
it had a big influence on people. But this movie had a big influence on True Romance, and like Quentin Tarantino is a big
okay,
fan of
I
this
could see
movie.
that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean the
that character's into Elvis too, right?
and
They
Silver
wear the same
Surfer.
kind of shirt or whatever. Like I don't
Yeah,
know what that's called, like the bowler
but
type
he's
shirt or whatever.
also into comics, and I think brings up Silver Surfer too.
Uh huh. Yep.
So, yeah, it had a big influence on that. So it is a remake of Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless, which is the banner film of the French New Wave. I
Hmm.
would say it's, even though I like this quite a bit, like based on our letterbox ratings, quite a bit more than you, me coming in at a solid 4.5, because I do really enjoy this movie, but it definitely doesn't have the classic appeal. And I mean, the original Breathless inspired like an entire era of filmmakers and
Yeah.
changed what would become American cinema after that. So it's hard to remake a movie like that. But I thought that it does it in this cool way, and there's a lot of weirdness to the tone and vibe. Like it's goofy at times, but there's a murder in it, and you can feel the seriousness and the heaviness of the walls kind of closing in
Hmm.
on
But
him.
yeah, it's fun and like lighthearted at the same time, kind of.
Yeah. And
And
but it's weird. Like one of the things that always jumps out to me is they use that like weird piano piece of music. It's like Philip Glass opening or something.
mhm.
And they use it a few times, and it's almost like out of place. Like it just doesn't feel quite right, but I kind of dig it. I kind of
Uh-huh.
I kind of dig that it feels out of place. Like
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
definitely just multiple moments that it feels a little cluttered, and I think in some instances I would be very critical of that, but for some reason, like I like the way it fits together in this movie.
Uh-huh. For sure.
So
And if you're a fan of Richard Gere's butt, you get to see a lot of that in this movie too.
absolutely, he wasn't afraid to show it off. That's for sure, and we'll find that
He's not
out.
ashamed. He's not ashamed in any of these movies to go, full frontal. I don't remember if you see his wiener in this one, but
I'm pretty sure you do. Yeah.
yeah,
So this was 3 years after uh, American Gigolo, so he was just a pro at
yeah.
male full frontal nudity at this point in his career.
But
But
yeah,
I am glad that you watched this one. This definitely would have been something that if we hadn't done Hockey or Summer, this would have been on my list to like have you do his homework at some point, just because it's a movie that I've really only come into knowing over the last, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, somewhere in there, that it came on my radar. But I do enjoy it quite a bit.
I gotta ask you though because I haven't seen the original. How similar is like the story? Is it about a guy who kills a cop and then
Yeah. The
just like
story is
goes after this
almost
old
this.
fling or
Yeah,
something?
the story is almost the same, but it's reversed. The girl is American, and
Okay.
yeah, because it's in France. So it's like in this one, it's a French girl.
Is
In
she the one who kills the cop or is it
No,
still the
it's
guy?
still the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just like instead of it being an American guy and a French girl, it's a French
Okay.
guy and an American girl.
I have like no. no experience with Godard at all. I own Viver sa vie or something.
Yeah.
Um, and I've heard a lot about him and how he's influenced like Wes Anderson and just a ton of other filmmakers. So I
I
think when the
yeah.
next sale comes around, I'll probably pick up Breathless just because I know it's one that's just talked about all the time, and I just haven't gotten around to it
For
yet.
sure.
But
And I do think it's good. You have to kind of like wade into the waters like slowly of getting the whole French New Wave vibe because I don't know that you're immediately like, "Oh, I understand how this influenced like literally everyone."
yeah,
Like I do think
would
it's
you say Breathless is a good one to start with, or should I
I think
start with
so.
something else?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Breathless is a good one. It's probably the one that makes the most sense to start with. My favorite Godard movie is actually Contempt, but that's because
Okay.
it's about the degradation of a marriage, which is something I'm
Okay.
always interested in. So
Actually, one other random pickup that I got, I'm not gonna grab it, but I picked up Alphaville, which is also. Have you seen that? I think
I
that's a
I,
Godard
I
movie.
have not seen Alphaville.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, if I watch it, we'll talk about it
Yeah,
eventually, I guess.
please let me know.
But yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's homework.
All right, Matt, it's officially time for Hot Gear Summer. Take it away.
Paul Schrader made his bones focusing on characters living on the fringes of society. After seeing some success as a writer with 1976 Taxi Driver, Schrader would go on to begin his directorial career, starting with Blue Collar and followed shortly thereafter by Hardcore in 78 and 79, respectively. Despite both receiving mostly positive reviews, Schrader's ideas would struggle to hit with the mainstream and failed to result in any significant financial success. That would change with 1980's American Gigolo. It's hard to say which came first, the 80s aesthetic or American Gigolo. The ostentatious sunglasses, the endless wardrobe of flashy designer jackets, and of course, the cocaine. All of this laid over top a blended score of bumping synthesizers and Blondie. The movie would initially set to feature John Travolta in the lead role of Julian Kay, but he would drop just weeks before filming was set to begin. In what would end up being a pattern, and thankfully for this show, Schrader turned to known stud Richard Gere and locked him in. In a side piece of trivia, the other films Travolta turned down that went to Gere included Days of Heaven, An Officer and a Gentleman, and Chicago. At first glance, one may accuse American Gigolo of being an example of style over substance, but if you break the title apart, I think you get the dichotomy of the story. The gigolo element is certainly the style. A super slick gentleman who struts about town, making a living seducing older, wealthy women. He knows all the fine dining establishments and dabbles in multiple languages. But the other side of the coin, the American part, and what I'd say is the substance of the story, an outsider's version of the American dream. We don't get all of the dirty details, but it's enough to know that Julian came up hard. We're seeing him at a time in which he's achieved most of his goals and is living the life he's pursued. But it's a flimsy existence. At one point deep in the film, Julian states his total worth is somewhere between 20 and 30,000, and he's willing to trade it all in, start again from nothing to save his life. A stark reminder that everything one builds and struggles for can be gone in a second, especially when you think you're above the law, which Julian insinuates he may be. He's reached a point in his career that he's successful enough to operate as a free agent while still maintaining working relationships with two longtime procurers of his services, Anne and Leon. His loyalty to either has become fragile, and his desire to operate outside of their establishments may just be his undoing. Ultimately, this is the story of a man who gives pleasure for a living, but seemingly has no idea how to find it for himself. His dream life is fleeting. But what's most compelling about this movie is watching Julian navigate the world as his house of cards starts to crumble and the walls close in. So without further ado, Return to Videotech proudly presents the banner film of Hot Gear Summer, American Gigolo.
Hell yeah.
All right, so that's it. We have, of course, our hero, Richard Gere, starring as Julian Kay. I didn't make any notes of this anywhere, so I guess I'll just talk about it up front. The writer Bret Easton Ellis, who wrote like American Psycho, as well as several other things. Was a huge fan of this movie. Potentially cites it even as like what inspired him to come out initially as a gay man. But the character name, the reason I bring it up is he. If you've ever seen the movie Less Than Zero, which is a movie that is probably not that great, but I kind of like, Robert Downey Jr.'s character in that movie is named Julian. He's named after this
Oh,
character.
okay. I didn't know that. I've never
Yeah,
seen that movie either, though. By the
it's
way.
fun. We should maybe someday for homework I'll assign it to you. It's like
Okay.
not it's another one of Bret Easton Nelson's books, of course, but
Okay.
I've never read the book. Supposedly the book is like super messed up,
Mhm.
but I do like the movie.
Yeah.
And then Lauren Hutton plays Michelle Stratton. I would say she's a Julie Christie type. Apparently, Julie Christie was originally attached to play the role, which you do. I can see her in this. I would have been interested to see that movie. I don't think it's wildly different. I just um, Lauren Hutton's
I
probably not bringing that level of star power.
No, yeah, I actually grabbed something off my shelf in the in between sections to show this again because I recommended this to you a while back, but she's the lead in John Carpenter's Someone's Watching Me, which is a TV movie that I watched and thought it was really cool. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
nice.
that's it. When I was watching this, I immediately was like, oh, that's who that is.
Well,
But other than that, yeah, I don't. Like you said, I don't think she had a lot of star power.
I also saw her in, I think the movie is Once Bitten, which was a vampire comedy starring Jim Carrey, a young Jim Carrey. And the only reason that's on my radar was because it was a listener request for the last show that I did.
Okay.
And but it is kind of a fun movie. So she's like the vampire in it, which is kind of funny. And probably the most interesting thing I can say about Once Bitten is I have a huge regret. I went to a local record store, I don't know, probably a year or two ago, and they had a copy of the soundtrack on vinyl, and I didn't buy it. And I
Does it
feel
have
like
a
I
good
should have.
soundtrack? I've never seen the movie, so.
Yeah, I don't like. I wouldn't say I was like blown away by the soundtrack or even like walked away with it where I downloaded a song, but it's just one of those rare random finds where you're just like, wow, that's so funny that and I buy things like that. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Um,
Right.
and I kind of wish I had because it was like it wasn't like oh this was like this new repackaged on blue vinyl or something. This was like an old somebody
Uh-huh.
traded it in, and I'm like, wow, that's something that I never see, and I do feel
Uh-huh.
like I should have bought the soundtrack to Once Bitten on vinyl. That was a big mistake. So it's that's my that's my American dream.
Okay.
So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the beginning. So with the characters, because we probably the key people are all introduced in the beginning, which is Julian. Lauren Hutton's character is Michelle Stratton. We have Anne and Leon, who are the two people who have employed Julian as a gigolo. So there's a bunch of establishing shots where he's driving up Pacific Coast Highway. Blondie, call me, just blasting. Um,
This movie, the very beginning of this movie is so Matt coded that
yeah,
it's like this is like the life that Matt wants to live. Not that you
absolutely,
want to be a gigolo, but you would love to like have a Mercedes, super nice Armani suits,
definitely.
and it just be living on the coast, you know?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think I have the sexual prowess to be a gigolo, but I could do the rest.
Yeah.
I could definitely drive around with ostentatious sunglasses and um, just buying all of the most expensive clothes, having the biggest closet. Yeah, that would definitely be uh, for me. And Anne is sort of I don't I Anne and Leon are basically pimps. I don't know if there's a
Yeah.
different word for it with gigolos, but
Yeah. I love the fact that his pimp is a woman. I don't know why.
yeah.
It just seems so unique. I don't know if I've ever seen another movie where there's a woman pimp.
Well, you just that's one of the things that's I think was one of the appeals of the movie was people just didn't think about this. It was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's this whole
Paul
other side of
Schrader
this business.
Paul Schrader talked about that a little bit. There's a really good interview that he gives on the Arrow Blu-ray, and he talks about it more being, I mean, I guess this is kind of in your face and obvious, but it's more about the female gaze than the male gaze, obviously. Even though there is that opening scene that you talked about where he goes to Anne's house, there are two topless women sitting
Yeah,
there, but
yeah,
overall the movie is more, focused on the male or the female gaze than the male gaze.
for sure. And yeah, we see so Anne is like pimp number one, and then Leon is pimp number two. And right in the beginning, we're sort of getting the juxtaposition between the two of them. I think Anne represents new Julian, and Leon represents old Julian.
Hmm.
We don't get the full backstory. Anne acts like, hey, I brought you up, I made you who you are, and maybe that's true, but it does seem like Julian had a rougher go of it, and there were darker days, and he was maybe doing a lot of jobs they didn't want to do. And at this point, he's mainly doing jobs that he wants to do. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, maybe, older women isn't always a dream, but when you hear about some of the other things and when you experience some of these other things, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
older, classy women is, you know, kind of an easy day at the ballpark for him.
Well, there's a fun conversation that happens later on, which we'll probably get to. But when Michelle asks him why he sleeps with older women, he has an interesting answer. He says something like, it maybe they appreciate it a little more. Basically, is what he says.
Yeah, he kind of acts like he's a do-gooder.
Yeah.
Their wives don't pay, or sorry, their husbands don't pay attention to them
Yeah.
anymore, and
Hmm.
they just want to be loved and taken care of, and he's happy to provide that service. Now, I think the more you go on, though, it sort of feels like it's all an act. Not like he's fake and has bad intentions, but it's like it's the job that's saying this
Hmm.
and not really him.
Yeah. I mean, in that conversation too, he does say something about it took him 3 hours to get her off when he's telling a specific story, and it's almost like his ego. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like only someone like me could do this, and I'm the only one willing to put 3 hours of work into into
Yeah,
getting this
yeah.
older women off.
Yes, he's doing the Lord's work in that way. I mean, at least he's certainly dedicated to his craft, you would say.
For sure.
So little poppin' with Anne. This is where we get introduced to the storyline that's going to be I would say a B story throughout the movie. That never really comes to fruition, but the idea of he's learning. I think the language is Swedish. Uh,
Uh-huh.
for
Yeah.
a potential client that's going to be coming into town upcoming that Anne's been lining up. And this is where we get a little bit of the business history that basically Julian does still get clients through Anne, but it sounds and then they split the money. But it sounds like if they start coming back to him directly, or maybe he even peels them apart,
Hmm.
and then he takes 100% of the profits in those instances. She says, you already take all the money for the repeaters. So I kind of get the sense that like he's going against their business deal and like they do
Yeah.
the one time, but then he starts getting the girls on his own.
I think yeah, that's definitely laying the groundwork for what eventually happens to him. It's like he's kind of pissing everybody off, all these other pimps,
Yeah.
or the other people in his industry, as he calls it, I believe. But
Yeah. And he has been for a while. I that's he's sort of unassuming and charming, and cool. So you don't really think too many uh bad things about him in the beginning, but I do think that the decisions that he's made with his business partners has
mhm,
put him in a bad position for where this movie goes.
yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
so we also meet Leon, or he gets a phone call from Leon about doing a job, and it's a couple, the Rymans, and I don't know. I feel like Julian is putting him off at first, but ultimately accepts the job, and he cruises out to the Rymans. Some of this stuff is cut like out of order. Like you get like one scene where it's like a phone call, and then a different scene will happen. Then it kind of cuts back to continue that last story. So I'm not exactly uh, cl- clearly remembering what the order is, but let's just say he takes that job and he does go out to the Ryman's house. Mr. Ryman, bona fide creep, weirdo.
Kinky weirdo, yeah.
And but not even for like, listen, no kink shame here. Just whatever. Basically, he's like, we get from Julian like I don't do gay stuff basically.
Mhm.
And
Some
he's
harsh
like,
language in this movie.
yes, there are some harsh terms being utilized that we certainly would not repeat
Yeah.
here, but I did see Paul Schrader say that there's definitely like a gay undercurrent to the
Mhm.
movie, and sometimes it's right in your face, and then sometimes it's not on surface level. He
Well,
did
I
say
think
that
he
like,
personally has come out and said that he's not said that he's bisexual himself, but he has made some sort of statements saying he considers himself pansexual. I don't know if
okay,
you know about this at all,
I
but
didn't know that. It kind of sounds familiar though,
yeah.
and not a surprise, but he did say, Paul Schrader, that is, did say that like if this movie came out now, like the element of the Julian character being bisexual would be like way more in your face.
Yeah.
Like
He,
that
he
would be a part of it.
yeah, he talked about that in that interview I watched a little bit. He basically said it'd be like a non-issue at all.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
back
yeah.
in when this movie came out, it was a little bit more risque to have that kind of stuff in your movies, you know. But
So yeah, Mr. Ryman wants to procure Julian's services for his wife, and he just wants to be able to watch. But I guess what we find out is he also wants to comment and give direction, and you can tell Julian is just like annoyed by this, and then annoyance kind of leads into disgust.
mhm.
But we don't see where things go. It just doesn't feel like it's going towards a good place.
Yeah, he asks him to slap her or something, and just like the look Julian gives is like he's like, God damn it, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he did not want to get in with these
Yeah,
people, and ultimately, when him and Leon meet up after the fact, he's basically like, I don't know what he calls it, a dirty trick or something.
yeah,
Um,
uh-huh.
but this was not for him, and these are not the types of jobs that he wants to take anymore. And this and other things that he didn't want to do, that's what's alluded to as like what was his past, life and what he had to go through to get to the level that he's at. And now that he's at this level and he started kind of going on his own, taking his own clients, this is not the type of job that he wants to be involved in. And
No.
he lets Leon know that, but he keeps it pretty loose still. And Leon's like, "Hey, they want you back out." And he's like, "No way, man. I'm not going back out there."
Hmm.
In the meantime, somewhere in the mix of this, and I think it wasn't really until I did watch this twice for this viewing, and I don't think it was until this second one because his meeting Michelle always like sneaks up on you,
Hmm.
because it's in the middle of all these little jobs being set up for him. He's
Yeah.
got stuff going with Anne. Like just in the Anne scene alone, she's got a woman meeting him that night that you see where he's the limo driver, and then they're talking about the woman who I believe is Swedish coming to town,
Hmm.
and then he's also just at a bar, the red lit bar, and I was thinking, I always think that he's there meeting one of these dates, but it seems like he's just kind of scoping for clients,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, yeah, that first interaction is kind of weird for sure. Um, yeah, he kind of just like approaches her because I think he overhears her speaking French or something, right?
Yeah, and you
Um,
realize that this is one of the ways that he gets clients is because what
mhm.
he lists as his real jobs are
Tra-
translator
yeah,
and limo driver.
yeah,
So, or like,
chauffeur.
yeah, chauffeur. So, that's one of the things that he does is looks for potentially wealthy older woman who could need one of those two things. And when he hears her speaking French, he goes and sits down and starts talking in French with her. And then she switches to English and he's like, "Oh, you know English." So
Hmm.
obviously she will not need a translator. Somewhere in this conversation, she does realize what he actually does, right?
Yeah, I felt like his reaction was kind of weird too because I can't remember if it's before or after she says how much for one fuck, but he kind of gets offended by her calling him what he is
I don't
basically.
do that. You're confused.
Yeah.
I know. they're saying things like, do you speak the international language?
Yeah,
Just
a lot of innuendos.
totally dialogue that you and I would definitely be having in bars like this that are just
Yeah,
completely just like red light everywhere.
for sure.
Um, but it breaks off with no real serious commitments here. He was trying something. It didn't really go the way that he was expecting it to, and then it seems like he's just pulling out of this. But
Yeah.
Michelle is hooked after this interaction.
Yep.
So much so that she would find her way to his uh, apartment. Kind of
Uh-huh.
crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
and obviously very resourceful because he says that he doesn't bring women to his apartment. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. I mean,
Yeah, she falls pretty quick for him, you know. I maybe a little bit unbelievable, but yeah, I don't know.
her interest is piqued. Obviously, we find out that her marriage is not in a great place.
Uh-huh.
But the fact that she just shows up at his apartment, I mean, this is
Yeah.
a bold move. I mean,
His living situation is interesting too. Cause is it like a condo he lives in where there's a desk person and he can call for a maid, and
it
it
is
is a really
interesting.
cool apartment or
Yeah,
condo, whatever, but
I wish I could explain this, and I got to tell you, Keith. Even to this day, I was walking by places like in Pittsburgh. I know Madison has experienced a lot of this too, where there's like way more like nice luxury high rise
mhm,
apartment buildings, springing up everywhere. And
mhm.
I'll call it an apartment, and Lindsay will be like, "Well, I think those are condos." And I'm like, "Well, sometimes I'm like, well, what is the difference?" Now I know you can purchase a condo, but there's still, I mean, like, I still feel like these buildings. I guess that's the difference. Either you're buying the place or you're just renting it. So Michelle is there, and they kind of start their little relationship. She does that. This is where she says the line that you said, because she's like, how much? I mean, she's propositioning him now, and she wants. I guess she just wants the gigolo treatment.
She's very lonely, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember if they actually do they hook up in this scene. Is
I
it
want
this
to say
one?
they do. I want
Okay,
to say they
yeah,
do. And it's like a freebie situation. He doesn't want the money, right? Or
that's
does she?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he seems intrigued now too,
Mhm.
because she does. The weird thing about this movie is there are actually several scenes of her being creepy.
Yeah.
It's her showing up here. She shows back up at his pool like the next day or something. And then
Mhm.
she's following him in the streets at one point. So
Yeah.
it's hard to keep it all straight. But yes, I do think you're right. Yeah. So they kind of consummate their relationship here. And he does seem to just be having fun with it.
Mhm.
Um, his next date, though, that we cut to after this is with Mrs. Williams, where it's like during the day they're checking out, like, I don't know,
It's like the antique roadshow type thing or
I get,
whatever.
yeah, but
Or
it
is that
seems like
later?
it's got to be, yeah, no, it's that scene, but it's got
Uh-huh.
to be for rich people.
Yeah.
So I assume this is like, previously owned kitchenware from the stars or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know
Oh, what?
what this is that they're doing, but he's helping redecorate her house, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's what she claims. Later on, you see her husband, I think, and
yeah,
yeah, that's what she says. Even though he knows what's going on too. Or that's what I caught from that
sure.
interaction.
I think at that point, yeah. But that's the cover story here. It's definitely daytime, but then it cuts. So that's all we see. We don't see nighttime, which will come out to be an important mystery element of the movie as we move forward. But we're now at the pool at Julian's nice, lovely community pool, and he's reading the paper and sees hey, uh, lovely time up at the Ryman's house the other night. Wait a second, Mrs. Ryman brutally murdered since I've
Yeah.
been there. uh, which can't feel too good since he was there recently, and I think causes him a little bit of panic. But
Yeah. A little bit of anxiety setting in right away.
I would say so. But that subsides because his stalker Michelle shows up at the pool. One of the lines that he says to her, Michelle, I'm not one of your problems, and I'm certainly not the solution to your problems. And I'm like, yeah. And but I guess to be fair to her, she's pretty chill the whole time. I mean, she never really has a lot of expectations from him other than, hey, if I want you to perform your
Mhm.
gigolo-ness on me, like,
Mhm.
I think you need to be a willing participant in that. And but I guess a relationship is forming here. He takes her up to his room. I did see, speaking of Jean-Luc Godard, this whole sex montage thing on the blue sheets. I think Schrader said that he was inspired by Godard
Mhm.
for that. I'm not sure specifically which movie or what scene, but he did say that that was what inspired that, because it is sort of weird. It's You just see nudity on top of these blue sheets. The one part with
Uh-huh.
the hands coming up, always a little striking. But this is also where we get Richard Gere, just full frontal nudity,
Yep.
no qualms.
So Paul Schrader said that this was like the first time an American movie had full frontal male nudity. It's just a fun fact.
Yeah, I was trying to look that up to verify, and I think that's probably right. But I will say, like, if you check the Wikipedia, it says one of the first in mainstream filmmaking. So I was like,
Mhm.
is it 100% clear that this is the first time? Or, I mean, it's
Yeah.
definitely undeniable that it's one of the first, but I'd be curious. You're just like, with all the like B horror movie making and stuff that's been going on, like,
Yeah.
but I guess again, if you're making the distinction of mainstream, um, that's a different story. So
Mhm.
it's either the first or one of the first. And you know what, Keith? You love to see it.
You're here for it.
Yeah. So
No,
then we
is this the part where the next morning he wakes up and he's on the phone with another client, or did that happen earlier? I'm trying to
It's one
remember.
of those two times,
Yeah,
and I kind of feel like that may have been after the first time they hooked up.
I think you're right. So we might be past that, but I did
Yeah.
just want to touch on that scene because I just think it's a great scene. It's just interesting. It's super funny how he's like talking to this other client saying he has a hard on or something, and he's lying to her saying he has to get off the phone so he can jack off basically.
Yeah, he's
And
got
Michelle's right next to him listening to this, and she doesn't care at all. So it's like a good indication of like how into him she is, you know?
yes, for sure. She's not getting jealous. She's intrigued that this is his
Yeah.
job. And
Not an
he's
ounce of jealousy. She's totally cool with him continuing his gigolo activities.
And like most smart businessmen, he has not siloed himself. He has multiple revenue streams.
Uh huh.
He's seeing women at night, and then he's doing these phone things. Like, although it is actually clear in that conversation that that is one of the women that he's going to meet up with later. So I guess this is
Uh
just like
huh.
a foreplay thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely a full-time job. I'll tell you that, Keith.
Right. And he's good at it, apparently.
Absolutely. Yeah. So then we meet a less fortunate looking man than Richard Gere, Detective Sunday, played by Hector Elizondo.
Hmm.
He interviews Ryman at first, and then that's what leads him to Julian, because he's like, I'm going to need to know who was at your house.
Hmm.
So this is starting to open the door of like Julian being the prime suspect in the Ryman murder.
Hmm.
We cut to where it's one of these. I don't know. He's going to all these different events. This is some sort of dinner, some sort of. Is it a government thing? I don't know, but it's where we meet Michelle's husband, Charles Stratton.
Yeah. He's on a date with one of his other clients, and this is where he finds out who Michelle's husband is. Yeah.
That's right.
Hmm.
I was just trying to figure out like what actually this is. I mean, he's a senator.
I feel like maybe it's supposed to be like a fundraising dinner or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's probably right. When I see things like this, I'm like, huh, not something that I'm familiar with going to. So moving right along.
Yeah.
Though the thing I can say about Charles Stratton, though, a JFK type, were you getting that? I kind of feel
A little
like,
bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like
Uh-huh.
that is the intentionally making him like a JFK type.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um, Now we have another scene of Michelle just being an absolute creep because this is the one where she's wearing that yellow shirt and following him, following Julian through the
The
streets.
record store scene, right? Yeah.
Yes. So he catches her following him very easily.
Yeah. Bumps into her pretty hard too. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's like intentionally like trying to flirt with her here or what, but
Well, you know what? They had a copy of the Once Bitten soundtrack, and he was like, "I gotta
I was
get
gonna
that."
bring this up too. Isn't this record shop like a dream record shop for you? Like it's like
Absolutely.
3 levels.
Yeah.
Like these stores don't exist anymore, at least not where I live.
Yeah.
There is a really cool record shop that I went to in Rochester called the Archive though. I don't know if you've ever been there.
No,
But
I
they have
haven't.
an insane selection and they have like VHS tapes and Blu-rays and stuff too, but
Oh, that's sweet. No, I'll have to
I
go next.
love a good like record store setting though. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a couple cool ones by me, but the store that would be most like that, it's close to downtown Pittsburgh called Ides, like EIDE apostrophe
Mhm.
S. Lindsay and I actually walked by it last night and I was like, oh, we should go in. It was like 7 o'clock at night. We had just come back from dinner and it closes at like 5 or whatever. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, never mind. Now, I feel like those are post pandemic hours because I'm pretty sure Zach and I went there at night a few
Okay.
times. So, but they're like one floor is comic books, like one floor is like movies, one floor is records or something like that. Like
Mhm.
they are kind of that way. Like the basement is comics. Like it's definitely a cool legendary
Mhm.
place in Pittsburgh. I haven't been in a while, and I guess I probably won't go anytime soon since their hours aren't fitting
Mhm.
my schedule. But I did buy some movies there. That was I want to say one of the first physical media places I saw that actually like categorized out movies by genre and would put like black exploitation,
Mhm.
trash as like the genres, and I was like, oh wow, like I just didn't even think about like movies being sold in categories like that.
Mhm.
So pretty cool store.
Sorry
Uh,
to throw you off there, but
no
I
worries. Um, they end up going to dinner, and this is where she does ask how he gets pleasure. And this is
Mhm.
a significant moment in the conversation because you're like, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Cut. There's like several cuts in this movie that you're like, you think you're about to get some
Uh-huh.
important piece of dialogue, and it just cuts to the next scene.
Uh-huh.
That is like a move here.
Yeah.
And I take it here that there's not a good answer. I I think overall, Julian, there is a happiness to the level that he's reached, and he's kind of getting the jobs that he wants to do, and he's getting out of like being under people, and I think he's generally happy with that. But I think everything is still a facade, and
Mhm.
as we find out at the end of the movie, it is very delicate and flimsy, and could all come crashing down any moment.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah, I feel
hard
like
to,
he's gotten comfortable with his level of success
yeah.
and he's kind of forgetting the fact of like where he came from, I feel like, and how easily he could be sent back there. It seems like, you know.
Yep. No, I'm with you, and that will unravel as we go through it.
And
So
Michelle's husband later on makes sure he knows that.
I would say so. So in his interactions with Detective Sunday, which continue to ramp up, but initially he does say, "I have an alibi," and from what we're led to believe, it seems like that's probably true. And it's Mrs. Williams, the one who we saw that he was with wherever they were at that place, the Antique Roadshow place.
Hmm.
And they go and check it out, and Mrs. Williams denies it. She said that yes, she was with him during the time that we see. So we
Hmm.
know that's true. And she admits to that, but she admits to nothing in the evening during the times that the murders happen. They also I feel like at one point you don't really realize it, but Detective Sunday is just distracting Julian while the police go and, search his apartment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he comes back and sees everything pulled apart, which I will say that is very annoying. I mean, I know, like, it does kind of suck that you can be someone innocent
Uh-huh.
potentially and have your house ripped apart.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, yeah, it frustrates you when you see it because you're like, what? There's no recourse he has, though. He can't. Who's he gonna call to like complain about this? You know?
Well, a lot of the times, Keith, when Lindsay talks about, should we get a dog? I'm always like, I gotta tell you, I'd be like really upset if that dog started like eating my records and eating my movies and stuff.
Did I tell you about the time when Ellie chewed up a bunch of my DVDs when I was alphabetizing and I only got like halfway through, so I left like a ton of them just in piles in the basement. And this was like a few months after we got her, so she was still total puppy mode.
Oh
Um,
God, yeah. I
and
mean, that is tough.
yeah, she chewed up a bunch of my DVDs and Blu-rays, so I wasn't too happy about that. But to be honest, I was a little bit more concerned about her because of it was just tiny shards of plastic everywhere. I was like,
Yeah.
what if she swallowed some? Like, we're gonna have to take her to the vet, you know?
Well,
But
that's the
she
thing.
was
You're
fine.
double screwed because at first you're worried about the dog, and then if everything subsides and is fine, then you're like, now I'm left with tattered DVD
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't think I had put like all my boutique stuff on the shelves
Yeah.
already, so I didn't lose anything like super valuable or,
Yeah.
something like I would have been upset if she chewed up my American Gigolo.
If I was losing this American Gigolo with like deluxe packaging and this beautiful arrow release that like you
Yeah.
open it up and there's like little slip pictures of these little like black and white pictures
The
that
art
are
cards.
yeah. Like some of the stuff that comes with this, you're like, it is overkill, but I don't care. I love it. I
Mhm.
want it all. But if I found that destroyed, I would be like, that dog is going straight back to who we bought it from.
You can be adopted by a non-physical media collector.
Absolutely. No, I mean I'm open to it, but I would need to like dog proof my stuff,
Hmm.
and make sure that like nothing is getting destroyed. So
Yeah.
I just would not be a happy camper about that. So Julian, not a happy camper, as his apartment is generally well kept and he has a lot of nice clothes, a lot of nice things, nice stereo system. And by the way, Keith, maybe the most amount of vases I've ever seen someone own.
There's an odd amount of shots of him looking through these vases at different times.
There is a part of me that's just like, and maybe that's to insinuate that like, maybe Julian isn't as cool as we think, and
Hmm.
this is a little bit of a put on thing because it's like, who's going to buy these vases?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of his character is surface level, you know. It's the fancy suits, the
Yeah,
nice car, the good hair. Like he definitely cares more about that stuff than
it is
um
true. Like I genu- generally like the Julian character and want to root for him in this movie, but I will say you never really get a lot of personality from him.
mhm. Yeah. One of the things that Paul Schrader said was like kind of like an underlying theme of the movie is it's kind of about his inability to express love. Um
Yeah.
and like just be open with other people. I didn't. He didn't talk too much deeper about that, but I thought that was kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
I
And he
think
did
that's true
say that it was like surface level, you know.
because
Um,
he does have charisma for sure, but like
mhm.
you're never getting like a Quentin Tarantino type dialogue where he's talking specifically about things from pop culture or anything. Like he's never really talking about anything.
Yeah,
Um, but he knows how to speak French, so that's cool.
yeah. He's interested in one thing, and that's smooth talking old ladies.
Absolutely, which he is good at that. So it's a skill that, I'd be interested in learning from him.
Hmm.
He does now that his alibi has been denied. Things are starting to get a little dicey, and he goes to visit dear friend Anne, who's on kind of shaky ground with him because he's been cutting her out of business,
Yeah.
and this is when he first starts to introduce the idea that he's being framed because it seems weird. Things are
Yeah.
starting to happen, and you're like, why? Well, why are they only looking at me? They do say that Mr. Ryman has an alibi. Everyone's kind of questioning that. Like, okay, what is it? Because he seems pretty, unstable.
Hmm.
So he tells Anne that he thinks maybe he's being put in a frame, which I thought was an interesting way of saying that. Maybe that's more common. Maybe that was from other movies or something. But I don't think I had ever heard him say a character say that they're being
Being put
put
in a
in a
frame.
frame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd never heard that before either. I mean, you understand what he's saying, but it's
totally. I
yeah,
had never thought about it like that, like being
yeah,
put in a frame.
yeah,
Because you just always hear being framed.
yeah. No, yeah, totally.
So the thing that I wanted to bring up from this interaction, because he's like, "Can you get me an alibi?" Or no, with her, he's just asking her to dig into it.
Right. Yeah.
Can you
He's looking for a little bit of help.
can you see what you can find out? Because Anne,
Uh-huh.
she's a woman about town. She knows people,
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess. Obviously, she's very wealthy. Lovely beachfront property, Keith.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
know, she
Yep.
she has her son over, who maybe the custody of is kind of kind of a dicey situation. So they need to go talk at the beach, which
Hmm.
just a lovely little walk down the stairs to her beautiful oceanfront view. A nice situation Anna's got going for her. I'm like, I'm surprised that this really, Julian cutting her out of 40% of $1,000 job
Yeah.
is making or break her month, because it seems like she's got a pretty good
It seems
situation
like
going
yeah,
here.
it's a pretty lucrative business for her, this escort thing, it
But
seems like.
the thing I wanted to get to was her just being like, "You did it, didn't you?" And Julie.
He doesn't really deny it. And that really frustrated me. I was like, "What?"
So there is this thing to the movie. I totally think that I know what happens, even though you don't see it, and I believe that I know the story. But they do enough to make it seem like he could have done it. Like you're
And
never
yeah, I
really.
agree. I wonder if that was like purposely like done to maybe keep the mystery going a little bit. I don't know, but there are a couple moments where he doesn't fully deny it, but but you never really think that he actually did it, or at least I didn't. I don't know. And
No, I
he does a
agree.
lot of stuff that you like in this conversation too. He does a lot of stuff that's just like, are you dumb? Like why? Like he's very unappreciative of Anne, it
Yeah.
seems like, and like he's very full of himself. He says something along the lines of like, she's talking about how she made him what he was, and he's like, well, I'm more than what I was now, or something.
That's
It's
right.
like just an insanely cocky thing to say.
I
Um,
know. And she points that out to him too. She's like, "You're coming to me for help." Like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's still, and that, you know what? That's an important thing that you bring up, because it's like this is what he wanted. He's gotten to this point in his career where he's kind of like being able to go off on his own, and even now he's not really appreciating the severity of the situation because he's not willing to give that up.
yeah. And she brings up valid points. She's like, you're going behind my back, and I'm not like. I feel like she could have cut him out immediately as soon as she knew that he was going around her back and like taking these repeat clients. And then now he's going to her when he did this job for another pimp, which seems like a big no-no.
It
And
just feels like when talking about a murder and her saying, "You did it, didn't you?" That's an
you
easy
should,
question to answer, and it seems like
yeah.
he's having a very
I
non-committal.
I wonder if it's if it's a thing where he's like offended that she's asking, so he doesn't answer. But
Yeah.
I'm saying if I'm in this situation, I'm denying. I'm saying no, I didn't do this.
It seems clear.
Yeah.
Um, and that concludes the scene with Anne, and then he's now telling Michelle that he's being framed,
Mhm.
and I think she's gonna try to see if she can find out some information too, given her husband's connections. But in the meantime, Julian's being called in for a lineup, and we have kind of a random comedic scene in the
Mhm.
midst of the chaos going on now, because Julian's coming in for the lineup. He's reluctant, but is willing,
Yeah.
reluctantly willing to go in and do this. I think at this point he's trying to placate the police because he feels like he's innocent, but he is starting to feel like, all right, things are not lining up for me. But yeah, I'll do a lineup. In his mind, there's no one that's going to be able to finger me for something because I didn't do it. So
Yeah. He's
you
he's
know,
even cocky enough to the point where he jokes with one of the other guys in the lineup,
I
and
know.
he's like, and that actually pisses the detective Sunday off
Yeah.
even more. It's like, dude, how cocky can you be? You gotta like realize the situation that you're in.
Now then that's why I was saying this random comedic scene because it is funny that he gets that other guy to flip out.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't
Uh,
fully understanding the bit either here, I guess, probably because I've never been in a lineup before. I wasn't fully understanding the
well,
joke, I guess, but
you know what? It's really good that you say that because I also, someone who's seen these like lineup scenes in TV and movies forever, never really got it. But it seems that they just take, there's their suspect, but then the other people, it seems like at least in this movie, are just other guys that are currently in prison.
yeah, and the joke is he tells one of them that he's getting, or he asks him how much he's getting paid or something, right?
Yeah, and
Which,
yeah,
yeah,
sets that guy off.
yeah. He thinks he's getting screwed. He thinks he's not getting paid when everybody else is getting paid, basically. Which is, I guess it's funny. I don't know.
But Julian is still like laughing at this stuff though.
Yeah.
And it's heating up. Following the
Mhm.
lineup scene, we're back with Detective Sunday, and maybe his funniest moment where he's like wearing a new jacket and new shirt and everything. He's like, "Yeah, Julian's teaching me how to dress."
Yeah. I feel like that's him being a little sarcastic. I think
Yeah,
he did not like his first interaction with Julian. There's a whole dynamic between them that is kind of interesting, and it
for
it
sure.
kind of made me not like Julian as much because he is so fucking cocky. He's like, I'm better than you. I know how to please women like better than you. I dress better than you. And Sunday's like, well, fuck this guy. I'm gonna nail him. You know?
Yes, they actually have some great interactions, and there's probably lines that I should have written down. But you're right. I will say Julian does not look good in the scene where he's saying things like, you know, well, let me say it like this. Sunday asks him like, "How do you live with yourself?" Doing something that's illegal, and Julian's like, "Well, these women need care and affection." His normal lines, and then he's like, "Yeah, but it's against the law." Julian, well, laws are made by men, and sometimes men are wrong. Sunday, like, oh, so who gets to decide that? Julian, oh, if you know, you know. Some people are above the law, insinuating that he
You're like,
is.
Jesus Christ, man, fucking calm down.
Why? Yes. First of all, why would you think that? But second of all, if you ever thought that, why would you say that to a police officer who's investigating you for murder?
He's really just pushing Sunday's buttons. Like
Yeah.
it makes it. You said it earlier. It makes it kind of hard to root for Julian. Ultimately, you don't want, like, you think that he's innocent, so you're rooting for him, but you're like at the same time you're frustrated because you're like, dude, you're like kicking yourself. Like you're
Yeah.
not helping yourself out.
And it's just him not treating it seriously enough. But there is a turn after the lineup scene because Detective Sunday is like, "You've been identified," which everyone, including me, everyone in that room. So it's Detective Sunday, another cop who's like maybe his boss, Julian, and Julian's lawyer all in this room. Those four
Hmm.
people plus me, all surprised when they say that he's been identified.
Uh huh.
Like it's definitely a moment in the room. Obviously, Detective Sunday knows what he's going to say, but I just mean like there's this like a shift in the demeanor of the room after that. And
Hmm.
Julian is a little bit like, "What?" And then Julian's lawyer's like, "Well, either press charges or let us go." Like, and then Sunday goes on to be like, "Well, then she identified another guy, and and they're like, "Well, do you think that this could be a frame?" And they're like, "The thought occurred to us." The other cop says that Sunday definitely seems like he thinks it's Julian or he wants it to be Julian, and he's not
I
coming off of that.
I interpreted it as Sunday just does not like Julian because of his previous interactions with him, and he's kind of fucking with him. I don't know if he actually I mean, I guess they eventually charge him and stuff, so I think he does think that he did it, but at this point, maybe he's not totally sure and he's just fucking with him.
Well, he does say, "I think you're guilty as sin."
Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember if that's in. I thought that was in this scene.
You're right. I think that is. I think you're right. I think that's at this point. But the other cop does at one point in this conversation say, "Well, you're more valuable to us if you are in a frame. You're more valuable to us out on the street." You know.
Right. So they seem open to that, and they don't have enough to book him at this point. They don't really have
Yeah.
any real physical evidence against
Mhm.
Julian,
Yeah.
other than like Julian is admitting that he was there 2 nights before
Yeah.
the
Oh,
murder.
and he kind of kicks himself too. I don't know if it's at this point or one of the previous conversations or a later one, but they talk about the handcuffs and how she had bruises underneath cuts on her handcuffs, and he lies about it at first. He says he didn't handcuff her, and then he admits to it like 2 minutes later, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Also, not a good look
Yeah.
to change your story. Like,
Uh-huh.
now they don't act. I said they don't have physical evidence, although technically they would. I mean, there definitely would be DNA evidence because he was there 2 nights before.
Mhm.
I guess they don't want to get into that graphic detail. I mean, maybe this was this was pre CSI,
Yeah.
but I mean, obviously DNA was in the mix just
Uh-huh.
2 nights previous, so there definitely would have been something, but they don't really get into that. They don't get into the nitty gritty. But Julian is now, I would say, starting to panic, and he goes to Mrs. Williams' house. Very casual cardigan sweater thing that he's wearing, by the way, in this scene that I enjoyed quite a
Mhm.
bit. I was like,
Fan
I
of
need to,
cardigans.
yeah, I need to get myself one of those. Uh, he goes up to the door. Mrs. Williams kind of annoyed that he gave her name to the cops at all, and then she's sticking with her story that Julian was not with her that night, and her husband comes to the door and he says, "She was with me. I
Yeah.
was here all night." Which, that's the part to me that indicates that Julian's story is real, because it doesn't seem like this guy's telling the truth.
No, yeah. I mean, it's a weird thing because you definitely get the sense that the husband knows what's going on. He knows he's not just helping her decorate their house or whatever. He knows that Julian is a gigolo, but he doesn't want to. He's one of those high class people who just doesn't want the embarrassment publicly, probably.
Yeah.
So they don't want the papers come around asking him questions and stuff. So that's his thing. He's like, I don't care if you fuck my wife, but you're not making it public.
Yeah, so I think that's a fair interpretation. I think one thing you could maybe take away is that she did, like, after the cops originally came to talk to her, she got spooked. She did tell her husband about it,
Hmm.
and he was like, "Well, I'll just say that I was here, and that way you're just separated from this entirely." Because it's pretty, I mean, you're pretty close to a murder story at this point. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
the guy who's being accused of, you were also sleeping with.
Hmm.
Um, I could see it being a situation where she just confessed to her husband. I
Yeah,
mean, and her husband was just like, "All right, well, I'll just say I
yeah.
was here. It was me and you. It's his word against ours, and they're never gonna believe him. So
Hmm.
that's that." I could kind of see it being something like that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. For a minute there, I thought maybe it was possible that they were in on the frame, but after thinking about it a little harder, I'm like, nah, I don't think they're in on the frame. I think it's
That
just
would be a
more.
wild conspiracy web.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is like an Epstein situation now. We've
Yeah.
got the wealthy people.
Yeah.
This is well beyond
Mhm.
Leon. He's bringing in all the wealthy people of Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
Um, back to back on the streets. Julian's day is very busy, just walking the streets of Los Angeles, shopping, but constantly being followed. This time being followed by one of Mr. Stratton's guy. And really, Keith, I think the most important takeaway from this sequence is the giant Warriors
The
poster.
Warriors, I took a picture of this while I was rewatching it. I didn't post it anywhere or anything, and I was gonna send it to you, but I love that thing. The massive poster. Yeah.
Well, and it has there's strands of Return to Videotech DNA entrenched in the Warriors because of all of our movie watching stories, perhaps the one that still circulates. If you and me were just in a random pub, any town, USA, and somebody asked us to tell a movie story, I think the one we would tell is you watching the Warriors twice by yourself overnight and starting it a third time.
Yep.
Like,
Well, that was the first time I'd ever seen that movie. I think you introduced it to me. I think we were just hanging out, and I don't remember if we were at a party or something. Went back to your
yeah,
house like a typical,
I think it
weekend
was.
night.
I think it was like it was right around New Year's because I I had asked for there was a DVD release that year. I asked for the DVD for Christmas. I got it. You had never seen it, so we were out, you know, as young people do, in a way that I can't relate to now at all. As most nights I'm in bed by 9:30, but we were out late, um, and we went back to my house as we used to, and we would watch a movie to go to sleep to. And I was like, "Oh, you got to watch The Warriors." We put it on. I'm sure I was like sawing logs by like the opening credits.
Yeah, you passed out 10 minutes in, and I watched the movie 2.5 times.
But that was the best. Like you telling me the next day that you watched it in its entirety a second time and then started it a third time.
Okay, well, to be fair, this was like before any sort of streaming services or whatever, and
Yes.
I think we were like watching it in your like PS2 or something in your room. And I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm just gonna hit play on this again. I loved it the first time, and then after the second time, I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna go find another DVD to put in, so I'm just gonna play it again before I pass out. So yeah, I watched it 2.5 times.
I know. Yeah. Just it was the best of times. We'll say that.
Yep, yep.
But he, in a pretty cool moment from Julian here, as we see him becoming more and more unraveled, unhinged, he takes a marker out and just writes his phone number on this dude's forehead. That's following. So
This
that,
is a badass moment for him too. I feel like just swinging dick like
yeah, tell your boss to come to call me directly or whatever. And you know, we don't see the phone call, but they do meet up at a nice place. Which one thing about Julian is he does always seem to be working multiple schedules at the same time because it seems like he planned on meeting Mr. Stratton at this place, but also one of his jobs was like meeting him here.
Uh-huh. Is that lady who came out and looked at him and then turned around and walked away? Did she like I was a little confused by that. Was she his client?
Yeah.
Is that what you're supposed to think? Okay.
Yeah, and Mr. Stratton
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, I know she's your client." Like
Okay, right. Yeah,
he,
okay.
he
Yeah.
points that out, and it's weird though that it's like I don't know. I just feel like you could be more strategic with these things. Even later when he meets Anne, isn't he? He's also meeting Michelle at that same restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah. They're at the country club here, right? Is this the country club or
I
the
think so.
yeah.
Yeah, a nice establishment.
Yeah.
A place that I can't imagine I would ever be at.
No.
I mean, I might dress like it, but I'm certainly not going. But they get into it pretty strong. Stratton is just like, stay away from my wife. Of course, tale as old as time. Julian's just like, give me $5,000 and I will. And he's like, you'll have the cash in the morning. Like, okay, that was
Well,
easy.
I was getting a similar vibe to what I was thinking about with what's the older woman who was supposed to be his alibi?
Mrs.
Her
Williams.
I was thinking it felt to me like a similar situation where it's like he's more worried, Michelle's husband is more worried about the publicity in his political career than Julian actually sleeping with his wife.
Totally. That does seem to be the case. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously their marriage is like not great. But even Michelle says that she wants to protect him from that stuff too.
Uh-huh.
Him being her husband. Like
Yeah.
she says that she never wants to bring like that kind of embarrassment on him.
Yeah.
But Julian quickly, pulls back when I don't know if he was just saying that to show Stratton that like he didn't care about the money, but he throws out $5,000.
Yeah.
And Stratton is like, "Yeah, I'll pay you in the morning, and then we'll be done with this."
Yeah.
But then he's like, "No, I don't want your money." So I'm not really sure what he was trying to.
I think again I think it's just his ego because the entire
Yeah.
movie he's just been so full of himself and so confident that I think that it's just one of those power moves again, where he's trying, like you said, he came up hard, or it's alluded to that he came up from a different background, and
Yeah,
I think he's kind of, I don't know, just trying to go against this whole other world a little bit.
I agree. And I think this is more of we're seeing like this world that he's built can how quickly it can fall apart. Because
Hmm.
Stratton is basically like you live by the graces of just like a few people, like these women.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, somehow Leon is able to say like, well, I can tell, all these women are not calling you right now because it's too hot. And I'm like, how can you tell that? It seems like it's only been a couple days.
Yeah.
I mean, so and Julian's like, fuck them. I
I
don't.
do think this is the point where Julian's attitude kind of changes even more. He starts getting more scared, I think, here.
Yeah,
When because I think when Michelle's husband says that to him, like how easily he could go and just tell everybody all these different bars and country clubs like don't allow Julian here anymore. And he probably has the power to do that, being this big politician or whatever.
right.
I think this is when Julian finally realizes he's like, oh shit, like maybe
That's
I
it.
could. I don't have any more cards to play, you know.
And this sends him out into the night, going to find his old friend Leon, who's hanging out at Probe, which I would say pretty clear a gay bar.
Yeah, Paul Schrader talked about this in that interview a little bit and said that so they filmed this at so Probe was like a real place.
Okay.
Um and it was just a fun story he gave how a lot of the crew like they were shooting until like 10 p.m. and then it just turned back into the regular bar, and he was saying a lot of the cast and crew were like hanging out with the regulars there. He didn't say that they ever brought like any of the regulars in for those shots where you see them all dancing and stuff,
Oh yeah.
but he said that it turned into like a thing where they were hanging out there, which I
Now
thought was
you do
funny.
see the blonde boy
Uh-huh.
dancing there too,
Hmm.
who is Leon's new boy. This is I don't know if you see him earlier than this, but I feel like he's got like kind of a Dirk Diggler vibe. There's definitely like
Hmm.
a little bit
Yep.
of a Boogie Nights thing going here too.
Little
But
Goldilocks.
yeah, there's all. This is where I guess it's crossing over right with uh, Julian's past because you have Leon saying like, "What are you doing here? It's a homecoming." And it's like
Hmm.
you're getting a little bit more of the history that in Julian's early days it was probably mostly gay work that he
Hmm.
was doing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, gay and
And
kink stuff. Yeah.
yeah, so Leon is kind of ribbing him about that, like, "Oh, you're back down here, like things must be not going great for you." And Julian's getting pretty serious, and he's like, "Listen, I need you to get me an alibi." And Leon's like,
Hmm.
"No problem, but you know, I need you to do a job for me." And Julian does not want to do that job because it's another Leon job, and it's going to be another thing that he doesn't want to do.
Hmm.
He leaves in a tizzy, but I think that Leon is going to get him an alibi. That's sort of the agreement.
I think so. Yeah.
It's kind of unclear. I mean, later when
Well,
they talk,
you
yeah,
find out that Leon is decidedly definitely not going to get him an alibi.
for sure. But I guess we should say he walks away with the impression that Leon's going to get him an alibi.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a brief scene with Michelle again, like during the daytime. It's been a lot at night recently, but now Michelle in the daytime, which I think she plans to leave town or something and separate from this.
Hmm.
I
Well, her husband is trying to send her away.
Yeah, that's right.
She says she's got to go to Rome for her husband or something during the primary election or whatever he's involved in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Doesn't want any bad press.
Yeah.
So they kind of break off for a second, and Julian goes back to his apartment, sees the blonde boy in his garage, which is shady,
Hmm.
sending him in a further spiral. He goes up to his apartment. Now, are you supposed to take it that this was a premeditated plan to have him see the blonde boy and send him up to his apartment, and then they'd plant the jewels on the car, or were the jewels already on the car? I just,
I
you
don't
know
know.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's a little confusing because you end up finding out that the jewels are in the car. Um, so yeah, it's a little confusing. I don't really know why they showed that shot of him. I guess they probably had to show that shot so that Julian would become suspicious and be like, "Oh, I gotta go.
Yeah.
see if he planted some other stuff because he knew about the jewels from the newspaper. He says
Yeah.
earlier.
Which I didn't
Um,
mention. Yeah.
yeah.
Jewels were stolen from the murder scene. So, and they've
Hmm.
been missing. And it's kind of like the smoking gun of
Hmm.
this case. Like whoever has the jewels was the murderer. Like that's the idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they haven't come up found yet. So now Julian knows 100%, you know, that he's being framed. I
Yeah.
mean, he
Uh
was
huh.
pretty sure before. Now he knows.
Yeah.
And then I guess he starts following Leon, but then he sees Leon with Ryman, which
Hmm.
completely cements it. Oh, okay. Leon and Ryman are in it together. There's like a clunky voiceover where he
Hmm.
says like that's Ryman or something that was clearly added like after the fact because
Yeah.
I guess people wouldn't be able to tell who the guy was or something.
Yeah. Well, you only
Um,
saw him like in the one scene
yeah,
previously, so they probably had to
I get it,
remind
and
the
it is a
audience.
faraway shot in a car,
Yeah. Uh huh.
but it is fun. It's always funny when they have to do those things to like explain it.
Yeah.
Um, so this is not good. The deck is kind of stacked against him, and now he sees who all the co-conspirators are, and that sends him back to the feet of Anne. I'm gonna make it one more shot with Anne, see
Mhm.
if she can bail me out. But in the midst of all this, this idiot blew the date with the Swedish lady.
Yep. I had totally forgotten about that until Anne brings it up when he goes over to her table.
Yeah, I know, and I love how Anne like knows basically like because she did look into it, what's going on, and she's like basically you're going down or whatever, but she's still just so mad about
Yeah.
the Swedish lady thing made and how that made her look, and he's like, the cops are after me for murder, and she goes, so you stand me up?
Well, that's again, it's just like Julian's like unlikability. He's just like such kind of like a cocky asshole. Like he doesn't appreciate anything that she did for him. I don't
I
know.
know.
Yeah.
And then in like maybe the most awkward camera moment of the whole movie, like it like you're getting like his point of view and he like looks over and then like Michelle's in one of the other booths.
Yeah.
Now
Which
I do think
I think he was surprised by that, right?
but I think that there's a scene either she was following him again. I thought there's a scene where you don't know who he's talking to, who he says meet me at Perino's, and
Okay.
I
Yeah.
so I thought that was Michelle. But like
Okay, yeah.
you it's a lot happening fast at this point.
Yeah.
So and he talks to Michelle again. I think she reveals that the DA has the murder weapon. They're gonna arrest him or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah.
So now he's rented a car and he's just driving around with the jewels. By the way, like
Yeah, seems like a little kind of a risky thing to do.
I mean, if
Unless he
you're
had planned on going to confront Leon with him. I think that's what you're supposed to think is that
yeah, I do think that, but I do feel like he's doing excess driving.
yeah. Well, he's smart enough to at least go and rent a car like you said and
Agreed.
not be driving around in his flashy
Yeah,
BMW or Mercedes convertible.
really. It is wild that he's just driving around with these jewels. It's like if you get pulled
Yeah.
over with these, you are done.
Well, at one point there's a cop car behind him
Yeah.
and the jewels are just sitting next to him and he just slides them under his chair. He's like, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't, have these right next to me."
So now he goes to see Leon. It's been up all night. It's becoming morning, and he has the final confrontation, basically being like, "I know you framed me." Throws the jewels at him. Leon is kind of denying it at first, but then he's just eventually talking to him because Julian, and this is it. This is sort of like everything that Julian has spent his whole life building, his whole life worth, whatever he says, 20 to 30 grand. He's willing to give it all to Leon. He's willing to do what he's willing to go back to doing the jobs of his youth. He's willing to do anything just to get out of this situation.
Hmm.
And Leon is just like, it doesn't matter. Whatever the amount of money is, the other side will always pay more. I assume
Hmm.
the other side is Ryman,
Yeah.
who seems just like a rich dude.
Hmm.
Um, so just desperation. Leon goes out to his balcony and kind of motions down because we did see the blonde boy again and he went outside. So
Hmm.
Julian's like, "What are you motioning?" and like ran and just is in a burst of rage pushes Leon who
Hmm.
flips over his balcony
I
and
gotta say, dude, this is uh, a very unsafely engineered balcony too, by the way, because when he stands up, the balcony is like knee high.
Now Leon, played by Bill Duke, he does seem kind of tall,
Yeah. But even
but
Julian, when he stands up, I was like, I don't know why. I noticed that. I was like, why is this balcony? This is an unsafe balcony.
this is the type of thing that I used to have like fears of as a kid too, is like being
Uh-huh.
on balconies like this and just like a gust of wind like blowing me over or something, or like how they've got like the spaces between the rails and I'm somehow just gonna get like
Hmm.
sucked through
Yeah.
the rails or something. I was like terrified of that stuff as a kid. But Julian grabs Leon's legs, and at first it seems like a situation that they can get out of. I got to tell you,
Yeah. Th-
in terms of effort from
yeah.
Leon,
It
it
seemed like he had a good grasp on him, and then he like maneuvers a little bit, and then his he falls out of his boots. Basically, it's kind of silly when you think
so
about it.
what I'd like to do, Keith, is next time I'm in Madison, I don't know, doesn't Rick live in like one of those higher rise
Uh-huh.
apartment style buildings? Maybe what we can do is we could like bungee cord me in or something and have me lay hanging back from my legs, and
We can
like
recreate this.
I just want to see how hard it is to like swing my upper body up from that position. I know like once he's like straight, I know it's like got to be pretty hard. But he
Oh
starts
yeah.
off with kind of his knees over the edge.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah. I
feels
feel
like
like
you
we're
just have
spending a lot of time on this, but it is silly.
you do I feel like you could do a sit up with your knees,
Yeah.
an open air hanging sit up, and I don't know if it's just no upper body strength or core strength from Leon, but like
Yeah.
he just keeps sliding and sliding until he just falls out of his boots and plummets to his death.
Yeah.
Uh, to which Julian is upset because he still felt like Leon could get him. I guess he
Yeah.
still felt like Leon could get him out of it.
Well, he's talking to him while he's trying to pull him back up, and he says, "I need you," or
Yeah.
something, right? Doesn't he say something like that?
Yeah, and I don't know why. I'm assuming it's because he still feels like Leon can still get him an alibi. And
Yeah.
then if Leon stops the framing stuff, maybe this can go away.
Or at the very least, it's like some sort of proof. I don't know if he thinks that he can convince the cops of what's
Yeah.
actually happening, but
I mean, I guess he's grasping. He's grasping at
yeah.
straws at this point. So, and he's
Uh-huh.
literally grasping at Leon's legs and unfortunately completely lets them go.
Yeah.
So,
But lucky for him, you find out later that a maid saw him trying to hold on to him. The end of this movie, I
I,
love this movie, but the end of this movie, it kind of falls apart a little
I
bit for
know.
me.
So I give this movie 4.5 stars, and the reason it's not a 5-star movie for me because there's so much to love about it. But I don't even mind the explanation of the end, or I don't even mind like what the story is. Like I don't even think the story is bad. It's just so quick and
It happens so fast, and it's just a bunch of shots where it's fading to black, and so much happens in that time. It's
yeah,
like, so Julian gets taken in after this, obviously, and then basically it just gets wrapped up by Michelle going and giving him this alibi because she loves him. There's a couple scenes where they talk like through through the glass while
yeah.
Julian's in custody or whatever. Um, but yeah, to me, like you're saying, it happens so fast compared to the whole rest of the movie, which is well paced. It
Exactly. I
it
know.
wraps up so fast, and it's a little off putting.
It,
Yeah,
it feels very abrupt. It does, and
yeah,
that's one of the reasons why it's not a 5-star movie for me. It's just because the end is
uh-huh.
so abrupt. But I do think it's hilarious. You brought this up when he's meeting with his lawyers. They're like, well, one is his lawyer, and then the other one, because first Michelle's trying to help him different ways. So first she pays for him to have like another lawyer who you
Hmm.
assume is like a high power one, but they're
Yeah,
talking to him and they're like, listen, you got to give us something. The police aren't investigating anymore because they're not pressing charges for Leon because the maid already said that you were trying to save him. And I'm like, that's enough.
yeah.
That
I mean, did she not see him push him at first
I
too?
like no one is questioning how Leon ended up hanging that way.
Yeah,
Did everyone think that Leon tried to jump and
yeah.
Julian saved him? Like, I don't know. I was, you are a little bit like, huh? It's interesting that they were just so quick to
Yeah.
um, let let Leon's death be explained as well. Julian tried to save him, so obviously he didn't try to kill him.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um,
Even like I feel like the end is supposed to be it feels like it's supposed to be this like big emotional impact thing when Michelle goes and gives him the alibi. Like you're supposed to I feel like you're supposed to think like, "Oh, she loves him so
yeah.
much and like this is his break." And it's like as you're going through this like 5 minute thing, not even 2 minute section, Julian kind of has seemed to like lost hope, and then she comes to his rescue, and it's supposed to be this big emotional ending, but it just kind of falls flat to me. I don't
It's a
know.
little flat. It's a little flat because it's quick and you're just like Julian is having this like epiphany moment of, oh, this is what I've been searching for. Like
Hmm.
I can feel love, I can feel pleasure. It's with this person. This is what I've been looking for. Here's the harsh reality of post credits. Michelle does not work. I
Yeah.
don't think Julian can go back to gigoloing.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully they have some money saved up, or hopefully
Yeah,
Michelle gets some money in the divorce or something.
because the future economic prospects for these two seem pretty grim. Now, yeah, to your point, if she's gonna get a divorce and maybe she gets some hush money from the senator to have it be quiet and
Hmm.
go away, and they can just go live on a beach or something.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Well,
because
earlier in the movie, they're talking about when Michelle and Julian are kind of having a conversation. We didn't talk about this, but they had a conversation where they're kind of trying to decide if they like Michelle wants Julian to stop being a gigolo because she's falling in love with him, and and she finally decides like she's like I think she's saying that she would leave her husband for him at this point, but
yeah,
yeah, but in that conversation, Julian kind of pushes back and he's like, "Well, I don't really know how to do anything else," and she's like, "Well, we'll figure it out." And
yeah, that's true.
yeah,
I feel like I don't know. He'd probably become like a prescription drug rep or something.
yeah, I see him as like a I don't know
What do you
carpenter.
think?
I don't know.
Carpenter. Yeah, I do feel like he's a trades guy. He could definitely like get in a union or something.
Yeah, yeah, we needed one more scene of him like with a construction hat on or something,
Yeah.
showing their life. They have like 3 kids, you know.
Yes. And he starts a whole trade school. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the end of the movie. Yeah, like you said, a little bit of a I feel like a little bit of an abrupt, disappointing ending, but otherwise highly stylized movie that it's 1980. There's still like leftover 70s style filmmaking in it, but also like an explosion of what would be the 80s right into it. So,
Hmm.
a nice fit for me, like you say,
Hmm.
and a lot to like here. And, certainly one of Paul Schrader's rare moments of his directorial work really
Hmm.
hitting with the mainstream. And he talked about it. It's like, you never know what's going to hit with he's like, I put the same amount of what I wanted to make into blue collar and hardcore and this, and you just never know what's gonna hit with the
Hmm.
mainstream in those right moments and where the culture is gonna be. And it just so happened that this kind of like coincided with where '80s culture was going and really resonated with the zeitgeist. And it is always cool when that happens. So
One
that's
one final question for you. We
yeah.
didn't talk about this scene. It's just a brief little thing that happens, but I gotta ask, how many times have you laid your clothes out like he does on his bed when he lays like 5 jackets out, and then he lays the shirts on top, and then he lays the ties? I could see you doing this.
If you looked in my room behind us, like the one I work out of, it has a guest bed on it. There are clothes laid out amongst it right now.
Okay. Is this a
Uh,
weekly activity or?
well, I lay things out. I mean, obviously, I have things hung up in multiple closets for one. So there's multiple closet spaces at work, but then I have all of these cardigans that I don't have space for, and I kind of lay those out sometimes. And yeah, it's a whole situation. It's definitely a whole situation. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. So
Okay.
that's American Gigolo.
Okay, Matt. Hot gear summer is not over just yet. We have a couple more movies to talk about. You picked for your blind buy, Oh Canada, right?
That's right. I got the Kino Lorber release of this. It was a movie that I saw the trailer for and I really wanted to watch in 2024 and just didn't get the chance to. But when I saw that Kino Lorber was putting it out, I just, blind buyed it, of course. Blind bought it.
Blind
Um,
buyed it.
yeah, I blind buyed it. Uh, of course, written and directed by Paul Schrader and starring Richard Gere. So the creative team, you know, behind American Gigolo reunite for the first time since that movie, and it's a very dark and disjointed movie. It's very reflective. It's Richard Gere is playing an old man looking back on his life. He was this successful documentary filmmaker and who had various love interests in his life. Uma Thurman is in it, Michael Imperioli, and then playing the young Richard Gere character is the Jacob Elordi from Euphoria and
Hmm.
Saltburn, and
Yeah.
he was Elvis in that Priscilla movie. So
Yeah.
he's kind
He's
of been a
blown
big
up.
deal. Yeah, he's a big deal. Always seems like a super tall dude. Has a pretty cool mustache in this, and I mean, I'm not going to tell you it's an easy watch. I mean, it's definitely not, and not just because it's sad. It's also weird.
Hmm.
It's weirdly cut together. There's times where it's in the past, but instead of seeing like the young character, you're seeing Richard Gere play the character. So like a lot of the things are cut together, and I think some of it's supposed to be because it's the old man looking back on it, and it's the memories are becoming a little
Hmm.
warped. It feels like he's been sick too, and his memory is not all that great. In fact, the people that are interviewing him are like acting like the stories that he's saying aren't even real because he's old and potentially has dementia or something. So it's definitely interesting and it's not uplifting, but I did enjoy it. All that to be said, I had a great time with it. No, I mean, I found myself. I didn't think it was great. I'll put it in this perspective. If I was ranking the Richard Gere movies for Hockey or Summer that I experienced, it would be probably, even though I didn't actually do this for the episode, but I did watch it. Days of Heaven number one, American Gigolo number two, Breathless number three, then maybe O Canada, then the Jackal. It's more in the Jackal territory in terms of how much I liked it, but it's I it's gonna get the stamp of approval from me. Okay, we'll
Okay.
say that. It has a cool original score by the artist. I think it's an artist, not a band, but Phosphorescent, who I was like vaguely familiar with, but
Hmm.
does the entire score, and it's like pretty good. I mean, it's sad, it's melancholy, but it's good.
Hmm.
So that's Oh Canada.
I was kind of bummed. We were texting about this, and I sent you a clip from the Paul Schrader interview,
Yeah,
and he was selling the movie, or just one funny quote sold me on it. Basically saying what's his name?
Brett Easton
Like
Ellis. Yeah,
Brett Easton Ellis said when they were casting Jacob Elordi, or he was thinking about casting Jacob Elordi in the younger Richard Gere role, he creamed his pants, and I thought that was hilarious.
well, after first saying that nobody could play a young Richard Gere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was bummed that I didn't get the time to watch Oh Canada, but I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly not going to walk away from it being like super happy. So,
Okay. We like bummer movies here though.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, should
So,
we move on
yeah,
to
let's
mine?
move on to yours.
All right. So I watched
Yeah, please.
Internal Affairs for the first time. Uh I honestly don't remember when I bought this, but
Is that a Kino Lorber too?
it's a Kino Lorber
Is that a Blu-ray or
release.
4K?
Um it's the Blu-ray.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But This was a pretty fun movie. I love myself a good like dirty cop movie,
Yeah, totally.
and it doesn't get much dirtier than that.
I have
Richard
seen it
Gere
before. I don't remember it well.
Richard Gere's character is just a real son of a bitch. Like he sucks, and it's fun seeing him play like a bad guy. I mean, you're probably more familiar with his like entire catalog of movies than I am,
Mm,
but I feel like he doesn't play a 100% bad guy that often, does he?
no, that's true. I mean,
Yeah,
not a lot comes to mind for me.
yeah. But he does a really good job in this, and it's real dirty. He's banging his friends' wives and threatening to bang or
I
threatening to
thought,
do dirty
yeah.
things to the AI Andy Garcia's character's wife, and it's yeah he
Is he friends with Andy Garcia's character? Like, are they friends in the
no
movie?
so basically Richard Gere is he's just a dirty cop, and it's interesting because you don't really get too much backstory on like his criminal activities. That's kind of just like an afterthought almost. You know that he's a bad guy, but it's more about Andy Garcia's character trying to catch him for the stuff he's doing. And then I feel like it's like a play on words, the title Internal Affairs, where it's like Richard Gere is he he's just he at one point they say he has 8 kids with many different wives. It's really just about him having this insane ego, kind of like in American Gigolo,
Yeah.
where he's just like insanely confident and he's going around getting involved with all these other people's wives and stuff. That's more of what it's about than his like criminal activity.
Okay.
Um, but Andy Garcia and his partner are basically just trying to gather evidence to nail him. But yeah,
Okay.
it's it's a fun dirty cop movie though.
Yeah, like I said, I have watched it before. I just can't remember it like clearly enough. Couldn't really remember what the plot was exactly. I did remember that Andy Garcia was the other person in it, but
Yeah. I mean,
oof.
it really just ends up being this like psychological game of cat and mouse,
Yeah.
kind of where Richard Gere is like fucking with Andy Garcia. Like, there's a couple interactions where he tells him he's like, "Oh, I see you're having problems with your wife or whatever." He's like, "Maybe I should pay her a visit," and like saying all this really nasty stuff. And yeah,
Interesting. Well, that
yeah,
does sound fun. What did
it's
you
like
rate this?
steamy. Uh,
Do you remember?
I want to say like 3 stars,
Okay.
maybe 3.5.
You were a lot of 3-star movies for you this
Yeah.
episode.
Well, I feel like since we've started this show, I'm trying to be a little bit more, I don't know what to say. Maybe be a little bit more critical with my
Okay.
reviews, I
Why, you
guess.
think you
Like
were just handing out ratings before?
I was handing out 5 stars to everything, Deep Blue Sea, this
Hey,
eh, yeah.
I think Deep Blue Sea is a 5-star movie for you, though.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not changing that
Yeah,
score
yeah, yeah.
ever.
Come on, that's not fair.
But
Yeah.
no, I'm trying to be a little bit more critical in my star ratings because it's funny when you open the app and you look at somebody's profile, like you can see like how much they rate each one's, and there's like the little barcode,
Yeah, yeah,
type
yeah.
thing. It's like the ramp. Mine is like heavily skewed towards like 4 and 5 star movies. Mostly,
Awesome.
I can attribute that to I try to watch movies that I think I will like though. Like I don't go out
No,
of my way to
totally.
watch bad movies,
Oh,
but
dude, even me. I mean, so I've logged like uh, 1,151 movies so far. So, like, I have like it slowly rises up to 2.5, but then 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, and 5 are all like pretty high. So, I
yeah.
mean, and it just goes. I would say that's reflective. I mean, I like more movies than not.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
a lot.
like here's mine if it'll focus.
Let's see. It's not focusing yet. I'm pretty blurry. Oh yeah, you have a
That's
big jump up at 4. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And yours is more like an even ramp up and then back down.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. But I feel like to like have OCD and getting stuck on what your trend line looks like is not the way to rate movies either.
I don't know. When it really comes down to it, I don't give a shit.
I
But
know. I know. I know. I just it is a differentiator for me to let me know how you feel about something.
yeah. Well, just know I'm trying to be a little more critical and make it not be like, oh, every movie I watch is a 4-star movie.
All right, very well. Okay,
Yeah.
Keith. Well, do you have anything else to add for this week's episode?
No, it was fun talking about Richard Gere's butt cheeks.
Absolutely.
Is that we'll end it on that, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess I'll just say thanks everybody for watching and listening. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, go check us out on YouTube too. I make other videos, just like about movie and collecting stuff over there, high volume video too. So
That's the real draw, really.
I don't know if I would say that, but all right, that's gonna do it. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.
Return to VIDEOTECH.